Chapter 1285. Roar. Rumble. Lin Feng was in the center of a boundless void. It was like a dream. Around him were hundreds of giant red dragons baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Every dragon had a powerful aura, and they roamed freely in this void as if they wanted to devour it. However, Lin Feng was as still as a mountain. He was unscathed. Even his aura was not in disorder. So this is the Red Dragon third transformation. Lin Feng had cultivated it before and quickly understood that with each transformation, the number of red dragons would increase tenfold. There were a total of 100 red dragons in the Red Dragon third transformation. The True Dragon Cultivation Heart Sutra used the True Dragon realm as the source to communicate with the universe and enter a mysterious world like the Origin Sea. The Heart Sutra was like a key that brought him into that world. Lin Feng quickly adapted. However, the Red Dragon third transformation was only at the planet state cultivation level. The increase in heart force was not as good as the Sky Heart Crystal Coffin, and the increase in his own strength was negligible. Next, stellar level Blue Dragon fifth transformation. Lin Feng continued to cultivate. The Heart Sutra was not complicated. With the experience of the Red Dragon third transformation, Lin Feng quickly grasped the crux of the Blue Dragon fifth transformation. The tens of thousands of giant blue dragons covered the entire universe. The powerful dragon aura accompanied the roars of the dragons, showing Lin Feng's insignificance. However, in the midst of the dragons, Lin Feng was still like a bright new star, standing in the center of the universe. His heart force was steadily increasing every moment. Although this was still a negligible increase for Lin Feng, cultivating the Blue Dragon fifth transformation was much faster than cultivating in the Sky Heart Crystal Coffin, at least 10 times faster. This was just the beginning. Lin Feng continued to cultivate the Heaven Realm Blue Dragon seventh transformation and the Nebula level heart force. His teacher's request was that he must cultivate to the Heaven Realm Blue Dragon third transformation and above when he reached the Nebula level. Roar. Just the first revolution was already completely different. After stepping into the Heaven Realm, the appearance of a huge azure dragon caused the world to lose its color. The azure scales were filled with an oppressive pressure, and the dragon's eyes flashed with a powerful force. The pressure of the dragons might surge from all directions. The improvement is even faster than the Earth Realm Blue Dragon's fifth transformation, Lin Feng thought to himself. His heart needed to be sharpened. Lin Feng started from the first revolution of the Heaven Realm Azure Dragon Realm and gradually advanced to the second revolution, the third revolution, the fourth revolution, the fifth revolution. Very soon, he surpassed his teacher's expectations. It was only when he reached the sixth revolution that Lin Feng truly felt the pressure. However, it was still within his acceptable range. Heaven Realm, Azure Dragon's 7 transformations. The strongest power. The appearance of 1,000,000 Azure Dragons caused the entire world to sink into a sea of dragon's might. Lin Feng was like a piece of driftwood floating in the sea, isolated and without help. His heart trembled slightly, but it made Lin Feng's will even stronger. So strong, Lin Feng felt a heavy pressure. This was a huge pressure that he had never experienced before. Every Azure Dragon had unparalleled power. There were 1,000,000 of them. It was endless. At every moment, Lin Feng felt his heart improving. Strand by strand, it gathered into a river and then flowed into the sea. This is it. Lin Feng's current cultivation speed was far superior to the Sky Heart Crystal Coffins. This is the highest level of Nebula level heart force. Lin Feng was looking forward to it. He wanted to know how strong the heart force of the Saint Realm was above the Heaven Realm. He wanted to test it out. Lin Feng had always had a challenging heart. He was never afraid. The Saint Realm Purple Dragon turned, and the entire world collapsed. A huge purple dragon descended from the sky. It was very lifelike. A pair of purple dragon eyes shot out purple aurora light. The dragon's whiskers were clearly visible. Roar. Amidst the dragon's roar, Lin Feng's heart thumped wildly. He saw the dragon's claws slashing and the dragon's might crushing down. Lin Feng's eyes widened. He roared. The tiny figure in the void endured the powerful dragon's might. Bang! Bang! Lin Feng's body couldn't stop trembling. It wasn't because of fear, but because his heart couldn't support it. Gritting his teeth, Lin Feng used all his willpower to confront the purple dragon. Drip! In the cultivation room, Lin Feng's cold sweat dripped down. His face grew paler. Suddenly, slap! Lin Feng opened his eyes. His breathing was extremely rapid. His chest rose and fell rapidly. The ferocious appearance of the purple dragon still remained in his mind. This is the power of a black hole. Lin Feng panted and smiled weakly. Letting out a long breath, Lin Feng calmed his mind. He couldn't really resist the Saint Realm purple dragon's turn just now. He had relied on his willpower to support it. According to the teacher on the True Dragon Cultivation Heart Sutra, doing this is urging the heart force to grow. The heart needed to be sharpened. Forceful sharpening might work occasionally, but in the long run, it would cause damage to the heart. Lin Feng understood his teacher's intention. For many things, being tough wasn't the best way. Moving forward gently wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Take it slow. Lin Feng stabilized his mind. After experiencing the sharpening just now, he would need a long time to calm down before he could start cultivating again. The Saint Realm Purple Dragon's turn did improve the heart force greatly, but if rest time was included, in fact, the Heaven Realm Green Dragon's turn was more efficient. I'll take it slow and start cultivating from the Heaven Realm Green Dragon's turn. It won't be too late to cultivate the Purple Dragon's turn when I can enter the Saint Realm effortlessly. Lin Feng had a clear plan for his cultivation path. In the dark matter space, 100 Saints number 7 moved forward quickly. Lin Feng, Li Poji, the White Commander, and the others were all seizing the time to cultivate. The distance of 48,000 light-years seemed long, but there were only 2 digits left on the screen. 66 light-years. 15 years passed in the blink of an eye. The journey was uneventful, and 100 Saints number 7 was about to reach the Dongwang Empire. 15 years passed quickly for a Nebula-level warrior. Lin Feng's True Dragon avatars number 1 and number 2 didn't stop to rest. They had been comprehending the path of origin, and their progress was quite gratifying. As for Lin Feng's main body, he focused on cultivating the True Dragon cultivation mantra, as well as practicing the blade technique. Now, not only had the True Dragon cultivation mantra reached the Saint Realm Purple level, but his heart force cultivation had also surpassed most black hole warriors. His blade technique had also improved greatly, and his blade heart had reached the limit of level 8. This was Lin Feng's current strength. As his blade heart improved, so did his blade technique. His combat strength had improved tremendously compared to before. Now, Lin Feng's strength was comparable to a Silver Core warrior's, and he could spar with 14 guards if he went all out. However, there was still a gap between him and Mo Tai and Mo Sure. Still, such progress was quite gratifying. Li Poji had also improved a lot. After 15 years of cultivation, he was now a Silver Plate warrior and was more powerful than Lin Feng when he first entered the Black Wolf Gold Empire. He would ask the White Commander, Mo Tai, and Mo Sure from time to time. Li Poji was quite smart. Whoosh! 100 Saints number 7 was flying at high speed. After a series of space folds, the journey of 48,000 light-years finally ended, and they had reached their final destination. The Dongwang Empire. Lin Feng's eyes flashed with anticipation. He had finally stepped into the center of the Milky Way. Chapter 12, 86. Young Master, please. The White Commander crossed his arms in front of his chest. Lin Feng nodded. Stepping out of 100 Saints number 7, what entered his sight was the boundless starry sky of the universe. Under his feet was an unknown metal plate-like material that was tens of thousands of miles long and had an irregular shape. There were many of such universal metal plates floating in the starry sky. Almost every universal metal plate had a spaceship on it, and there was more than one of them. This is the 100 Saints Inheritance Hall. The White Commander looked serious. Those who come here are new warriors of the 100 Saints Martial Hall. The first thing to do after joining the 100 Saints Martial Hall is to worship the 100 Saints statue. Lin Feng nodded. Respecting one's ancestors and seniors was a kind of etiquette and virtue. Junior brother, please wait here for a moment. Lin Feng said to Li Poji. He did not join the 100 Saints Martial Hall, so he could not go to the Saint Statue Inheritance Hall. Okay, Li Poji replied. Lin Feng nodded to the White Commander. Then, the two of them stepped into the air and flew toward the center of the Universal Metal Plates. 100 Saints Inheritance Hall. After flying at full speed for nearly 3 days, Lin Feng and Duan Ling Tian finally saw the scene of the 100 Saints Inheritance Hall. It's so far. Lin Feng sighed. The White Commander said, "This is a special galaxy. Every region is a piece of star debris, and the distance between them is a little far." Lin Feng nodded. As they gradually got closer, they suddenly felt a strong and powerful energy shrouding them. The 100 Saints Inheritance Hall in front of them slowly enlarged, and the strong pressure made him fall. Step! Step! Lin Feng and the White Commander landed on the bluestone ground, and the strong aura shrouded the entire world. Lin Feng looked up. The 100 Saints Inheritance Hall in the distance had a solemn and majestic aura, and it made people feel reverence. "Let's go in, young master." The White Commander bowed. Lin Feng nodded. On the way, the White Commander had already introduced him to the rules and etiquette of the 100 Saints Inheritance Hall. Only new warriors could enter here, and this was the only time. The 100 Saints Martial Hall's holy land. Lin Feng walked forward, and from afar, he could already see the magnificent hall. The entire area was enveloped by a powerful pressure, and outside the hall, he could see numerous cultivators sitting cross-legged with their eyes closed, motionless. Third-grade geniuses were unable to enter the main hall, and the chances of obtaining the 100 Saints Inheritance were extremely slim. However, there were still many martial artists who stayed outside, hoping for a miracle. After all, such a thing had happened before. On the way to the main hall, many third-grade genius martial artists would occasionally see Lin Feng and catch a glimpse of the special grade genius insignia on Lin Feng's chest. Their eyes all revealed looks of envy and longing. Step! Lin Feng entered the main hall. The heavy pressure was like Mount Tai, causing Lin Feng's heart to sink fiercely. He felt as if countless pairs of eyes were looking at him. There were no secrets in his body. He had been completely seen through. Consciousness pressure. Lin Feng looked ahead. It was a huge saint statue that towered into the sky, and each statue's eyes were shining. Each of these 100 saint statues contained a trace of consciousness of the 100 saints. If a martial artist met the saint's wish, he would be given the saint's inheritance. In front of the 100 saint statues, there were 3 arc-shaped areas, bronze, silver, and platinum respectively, which represented the qualifications and power of the 3 geniuses. Second-grade geniuses could only enter the bronze area. First-grade geniuses could enter the silver area, and special-grade geniuses could enter the platinum area. The closer one was to the 100 saint statues, the closer one was to the saint statues. The higher the chance of obtaining the inheritance. It's a special grade genius. Another special grade genius. Oh my God. TSK, I'm so envious. Many pairs of envious eyes watched Lin Feng enter. The 100 Saints Martial Hall was able to stand in the Dongwang Empire for hundreds of millions of years because it had a clear set of rules and regulations, and rewards and punishments were clear. The 100 Saints Martial Hall valued elites, and the more potential they had, the more resources they would be willing to spend on them. Third-grade geniuses, second-grade geniuses, first-grade geniuses, and the highest special-grade geniuses. Not only did it represent the martial artist's talent evaluation, but it also represented the importance of the 100 Saints Martial Hall and the resources they would give. From Lin Feng's attitude, it could be seen that he was very polite and sincere. He sent 100 Saints number 7 to pick up Lin Feng from afar and even provided him with a team of supervisors and guards. This was only a small part of the treatment of a special grade genius. It was the same for the 100 Saints Inheritance Hall. In fact, it was very simple. So what if a second grade or first grade genius obtained the inheritance? Without enough talent and potential, they would not be able to become a saint, and it would be a waste of the inheritance. Special grade geniuses were different, as they had a high chance of entering the black hole level. With the inheritance and various resources, their chances of entering the black hole level would be greatly increased. Lin Feng saw a familiar face. In the first grade genius area, there was a young girl named Ellie. She had snow-white skin, and her hair was tied up in a high bun. She carried a 1.5-meter-long red bow on her back. It was Hong Ling. That day in the 100 Saints Cup, she also passed the 16th round of the Green Arrow Human Tribe. However, Hong Ling's eyes were closed at this moment. Her curvaceous body was bathed in radiance, making her look very sacred. Around her was an area shrouded in white light, like a restriction that separated her from the other martial artists. Saint's inheritance. Lin Feng had heard the White Commander mention it before. The chance of a first-grade genius obtaining the Saint's inheritance was not bad, about 10% to 20%. Obviously, Hong Ling was very lucky. Lin Feng smiled slightly. No matter what, they were friends and not enemies. He was happy for Hong Ling's stride. Lin Feng entered the deepest part of the 100 Saints' inheritance hall. The platinum-colored area was solidified with a layer of faint golden radiance. The 100 Saint statues were very sacred, and the aura here was much stronger than outside. Raising his head, Lin Feng looked at the statues of the 100 Saints in front of him. They were either holding long spears or condensing lightning in their hands. Some were majestic like space beasts, and some had long tails wrapped around their waists. There were all kinds of saint statues, not just for humans. The Dongwang Empire itself was all-inclusive. Other than humans, there were statues of the Devil Clan and the Demon Clan. The statues of the saints were divided into 3 rows. Lower-level saints, 77. Middle-level saints, 18. Upper-level saints, 5. Lin Feng was very clear. The saints were also divided into different levels. The higher the strength, the higher the status, and the higher the statues in the 100 Saints Inheritance Hall. The saint statues on the 3rd floor clearly indicated the status of the 100 saints. The 5 upper-level saints at the top had the strongest aura. At a glance, Lin Feng saw a human saint holding a saber. He was tall and strong, and the slender saber showed amazing saber intent. Of the other 4 saint statues, 2 were Devil Clan saints, 1 was Demon Clan saint. The last was also a human saint, but it was a woman. How should I do the saint's inheritance? Lin Feng was very curious. As he was thinking, suddenly, whooshed, a bright white light lit up. Chapter 12, 87. It was a beam of white light that shot out from between the saint's eyebrows. With the saint's heavenly might, it landed on the platinum ground and turned into a circle with a diameter of 100 meters. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He knew what it meant. It meant that the saint's inheritance was bestowed. Now, he only needed to enter this circle with a diameter of 100 meters to obtain the saint's inheritance. Behind him, there were envious exclamations. Lin Feng's gaze landed on the saint. It was a man with a square face and thick eyebrows. He held a sword in his hand, and there was a mark on his forehead that looked like the sun and stars. His power was scorching hot and powerful. Light, Lin Feng muttered. The power of the origin of light triggered the divine pattern. It was compatible with the body of light and darkness. Before he finished his thought, another beam of white light suddenly lit up. There were exclamations behind him. It was another saint's inheritance. In an instant, the 3rd beam of white light lit up. The 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Lin Feng was stunned. Behind him, the 1st-class and 2nd-class geniuses were all dumbfounded. Their mouths were wide open, and they were all dumbfounded. One saint's inheritance was not rare. Basically, every special-class genius could obtain it. However, 2 or 3 saints' inheritances were rare. They had only heard of 6 saints' inheritances, but had never seen them. However, these 6 saints' inheritances all came from the lowest lower saints. Lin Feng came back to his senses and couldn't help but laugh. In other words, it was not the saints picking him, but he picking the saints. His gaze swept across the 6 saint statues. Before Lin Feng could calm down, an even more intense beam of white light fell. 3 beams of white light came from the 3 saint statues in the middle. Lin Feng's eyes widened. Middle-class saints. It didn't mean that an intermediate saint's inheritance would be better than a lower saint's inheritance. The key was whether it was suitable for oneself. However, on average, the intermediate saint's inheritance would be chosen first. This is crazy. Is this guy a human or a monster? 9 saints' inheritances. Oh my God, give one to me. Behind Lin Feng, countless pairs of bloodshot eyes were filled with crazed jealousy. They wanted nothing more than to enter Lin Feng's location. At this moment, there were already 9 rings of light on the ground, allowing Lin Feng to choose which one he wanted. Others might not even be able to obtain a single legacy, but Lin Feng managed to obtain 9 of them. And it wasn't over yet. The terrifying aura came from the 5 most powerful upper-class saint statues. The human upper-class saint's eyes lit up. The sword in his hand seemed to resonate with the saint's sword. Sword. Lin's heart trembled. It was just a remnant of the saint's consciousness, but he could already feel how powerful it was. The human upper-level saint's sword had completely integrated into his life. He was the sword, and the sword was him. Of course, it was also because the aura of the upper-class saint was the most powerful. Just when everyone thought the dust had settled, the demon race's saint statue on the right of the 5 upper-class saint statues suddenly lit up. There was a lightning mark on its forehead. A thunderbolt struck down. The 11th one. The geniuses behind Lin Feng were already numb. Comparing oneself to others would only make one angry. They were top-notch geniuses in any place. But here it hurt their pride. They had prayed and begged, but they couldn't even get a single saint's inheritance. This human youth had just entered, but he already had 11 saints' inheritances. 2 of them were upper-class saints' inheritances. He could freely choose any of them. This guy is definitely a monster. 11 saints' inheritances. I have never heard of them. The special grade genius, Yu Yong, was also quite impressive. He had 3 saints' inheritances. In the end, he chose the mid-class saint's inheritance. He was highly regarded by the Hall Masters. This one is even more terrifying. The 100 Saints Martial Hall's geniuses didn't have any hint of jealousy. Other than envy and reverence, they were also thinking of ways to build a relationship with Lin Feng. What did it mean to have 11 saints' inheritances? Amazing potential. It was highly possible for him to become a saint in the future. Who wouldn't want to build a relationship with such a future saint expert? Oh, Lin Feng hesitated. If there was only one saint's inheritance, he didn't need to choose. He could just enter. But how was he going to choose from 11 saints' inheritances? The White Commander didn't mention this when he talked to him earlier, because even the White Commander didn't expect Lin Feng to have so many saints' inheritances. There were as many as 11. Let's focus on the mid-class and upper-class saints. Lin Feng nodded. He glanced at the 5 saints. He first looked at the mid-class saints. There were 2 demons and 1 human. My body is like that of the demons, and my cultivation in darkness is very strong. I'm afraid this is the reason why the demon saint's inheritance appeared, Lin Feng said softly. As for the human saint, he cultivated the path of lightning. 6 paths of lightning. 3 of them were at the 5th level, and the other 3 were at the 4th level. Lin Feng's attainment in the path of lightning was stronger than the path of light and path of darkness combined. After comprehending, Lin Feng more or less understood the origin of the saint's inheritance. It was the part that he was good at and had high cultivation. Phew, Lin Feng let out a sigh and looked at the 2 saint statues at the top. The one on the left was the first one he saw. The human holding the sword gave him a strong feeling of sword heart. If he could inherit from him, his sword heart and sword skill would improve tremendously, not to mention other things. The one on the right was a shifter statue. It was a shifter man with sharp edges. Although he had transformed into a human, he still retained many shifter characteristics, such as claws, tail, and teeth. The whip-like tail contained the profound meaning of lightning. The sharp claws contained the explosive energy of cloud thunder. This upper-level shifter saint gave Lin Feng a special feeling as well. Apart from lightning, he also had a special energy. Every upper-level saint was not simple. Lin Feng was hesitant. The selection of saint inheritance could only be done once. Choosing a saint inheritance meant that he would join that saint's sect. This was clearly stated in the 100 Saints Martial Palace. At the moment, Lin Feng was most inclined toward the upper-level saint holding the sword. However, Lin Feng was still a little confused about what the so-called inheritance was. Secret skills, power, or something else. Lin Feng eliminated the 6 lower-level saints' inheritances and 3 middle-level saints' inheritances. The remaining 2 upper-level saints' inheritances would be his choice. Lin Feng stared at the two and carefully felt the difference between the two energies. He closed his eyes and felt more clearly. Behind him, the human geniuses were discussing among themselves. Many of them were guessing which one Lin Feng would choose. They were curious as well. This was a rare situation. Half an hour passed. Lin Feng opened his eyes. He already had an answer in his heart. This is it. Lin Feng stepped in. Chapter 1288. It must be the Blade Saint. I think so too. The Blade Saint inherited the legacy of an upper-level saint. There are many saints in the martial arts hall who inherited the legacy of the Blade Saint. We have the most saints in the entire 100 Saints Martial Arts Hall. The Blade Saint that everyone was talking about was the only male saint among the 5 upper-level saints. He was tall and burly, and his eyes were filled with blade will. Lin Feng was a Blade Saint, so accepting the Blade Saint's legacy was the most logical choice. However, Lin Feng's choice was beyond everyone's expectations. No way. Lightning Saint. He actually chose the Demon Saint's legacy. This guy is too strange. Indeed, it was very strange for a human to choose the Demon Saint's legacy. However, Lin Feng had his own reasons for making this choice. The human saint's inheritance is indeed very powerful in terms of the saber level, but the path of origin cultivation focuses on the path of the earth, which is the opposite of my path of profound meaning. Instead, this demon saint is more similar to me. Although demons are used to fighting with their bodies, his origin source and bloodline are very compatible with mine. The Great Tao of Thunder, Lightning. Lin Feng's Lightning Tao was at the 5th level, and he had a deep understanding of it. The lightning mark on the demon saint's forehead made Lin Feng's heart skip a beat. It seemed to condense all the essence of lightning into one point. Demons were born in nature and were often more compatible with heaven and earth than humans. Furthermore, Lin Feng sensed a different kind of power from the monstrous saint, or perhaps a very familiar kind of power. He had encountered it before. A unique combat skill. Lin Feng performed the ritual of apprenticeship. This was a show of respect for his seniors and ancestors. This demon race senior's fighting style should be the same as the human from the Silver Martial Empire that I encountered in the 100 Holy's Grail. Combat power combined with the elemental origin. A new kind of power. Lin Feng really wanted to come into contact with this aspect because he himself was a saber user. It was easier for sabers and battle prowess to fuse together and unleash power. However, if he added the Tao of Origin, it would be difficult for battle prowess to fuse together. Therefore, after Lin Feng confirmed his fighting style, he did not deliberately cultivate his combat power. Now that there was such an opportunity, why not give it a try? Even if Zhang Xian was unable to obtain the legacy of his saber art, it did not mean that he could not cultivate it. The 100 Sages Martial Hall definitely had a lot of secret manuals for saber techniques. Although the secret manuals for practicing saber techniques could not compare to an inheritance, they were still sufficient for Xiao Qian to benefit greatly. As the Lightning Saint's white light shone brightly, the white light of the other saints all disappeared. Lin Feng confirmed his choice, and in an instant, a white light as thick as a thumb landed on his head. It was as if his memories had been flipped open, and countless information surged into his mind. Soul power. Lin Feng instantly knew the name of this unique energy. It was a combination of combat power and elemental origin. Just as he knew before, this energy was unique and powerful. There were clear instructions in the Lightning Saint's inheritance. The two must be at the same level before they can be combined. Lin Feng secretly exclaimed. He had tried it before, but he did not understand the main points. The first condition for the birth of soul power was the stability of combat power and elemental energy. This was only the first step. In order for soul power to become powerful, he still needed to continuously cultivate and cultivate. In the inheritance, other than the cultivation method, there were also many profound meanings of lightning. Tao of cloud and thunder, Tao of thunder explosion. Lin Feng was very satisfied. Just as he expected, the Lightning Saint was not only strong in the Tao of lightning, but also in the other two great Taos of lightning. However, due to his unique bloodline, the Tao of lightning was the most powerful Tao of origin. The 100 Sages Marshall Hall's inheritance was not public. Other secret techniques and manuals could be purchased with one's identity. Only the saint's inheritance depended on one's luck. The inheritance directly affected the depths of one's soul. Tao of lightning, Tao of cloud and thunder, Tao of thunder explosion. Lin Feng quickly entered the state. The Lightning Saint's consciousness inheritance turned into wisps of white light and imparted his Tao cultivation to Lin Feng. It was not forced, and one could freely choose. However, usually no one would refuse unless their cultivation in this Tao was too weak. For example, if Lin Feng wanted to impart his cultivation of wind, Lin Feng would definitely refuse because it was a complete waste of time. However, it was different now. Fast, speed comparable to the speed of light, the strongest penetrating power, the power to break through defenses. This is what lightning is. Lin Feng was deeply enlightened. Although one could only cultivate to the 5th level in the origin star realm, one's comprehension was not limited. The Tao that one comprehended was real. When one's cultivation reached a certain level, one's Tao of lightning would rise to the 6th level in the origin star realm. Inheritance was much faster than cultivating on one's own. The Milky Way Dark Network. In a virtual world, the White Commander was reporting to Ken Ran. Because Ken Ran was Lin Feng's referral, although they might not be under the same saint in the future, Ken Ran still paid attention to it. Moreover, the White Commander, including the two brothers, Mo Tai and Mo Shi, 14 guards, were assigned to Lin Feng by Ken Ran. As the saying went, a special grade genius naturally needed to be won over. Although Lin Feng might not necessarily join Ben Ran's faction, there was no harm in having a good relationship with a future superpower house. Already in? Very good. Ken Ran nodded solemnly. Sir, do you have any other orders? The White Commander asked respectfully. Ken Ran was about to speak when he suddenly exclaimed. Receiving a new message from his good friend, Chi Ran opened it and instantly revealed a shocked expression. The White Commander beside him was slightly surprised. It was rare to see Temple Master Chi so shocked and lose his composure. After the shock, Ken Ran frowned slightly and then relaxed. After closing the message, Ken Ran looked at the White Commander and said slowly, Lin Feng has obtained the Saint's inheritance. The White Commander smiled. Young Master is so lucky. He was not surprised. A special genius could usually obtain 1 or 2 Saints' inheritances. Otherwise, they would not be called special geniuses. Do you know how many Saints he caused to initiate inheritances? Ken Ran asked. The White Commander's eyes lit up slightly. 4, 5, 6. The more the White Commander estimated, the more shocked he was. To cause 6 Saints to initiate inheritances, there might not even be 1 in 100 special geniuses. But seeing Lord Ken's indifferent expression, the White Commander's heart skipped a beat. More than 6? 7? No, 8. The White Commander's voice trembled. The more powerful the young master was, the higher his potential, and the more opportunities and blessings he would have in the future as the commander. 8 Saints to initiate inheritances. In his impression, it had only happened once in a million years. That special grade genius was now a saint. You won't be able to guess. Lord Ken shook his head gently, his eyes shining. Lin Feng caused the saints' inheritances a total of 11. Chapter 1289. 11 Sage Inheritances? Are you kidding me? How can there be so many? It's true. Not just the Hall Masters. The news has spread throughout the Hundred Saints Martial Palace. Even the sages know. In the Hundred Saints galaxy, the legend of the exceptional prodigy, Lin Feng, was circulating in every star region. After all, 11 sage inheritances were too exaggerated. Apart from the sages, even the Hall Masters had never seen the others. Such an exceptional prodigy had not appeared for tens of millions of years. TSK, that's nothing. It's better to have quality than quantity. No matter how many sage inheritances there are, he can only accept one. That's right. Instead, it means that he has learned a lot. In terms of actual strength, he is not that powerful. Furthermore, being evaluated as an exceptional prodigy is ultimately based on whether he can become a sage in the future. What's the point now? Lin Feng's fame spread and attracted exclamations and envy. At the same time, it also attracted all kinds of gossip and jealousy, especially those exceptional prodigies who were also exceptional prodigies. They were all super elites, carefully selected from countless star systems. Convincing them? Difficult. Lin Feng did not know how big of a commotion he had caused. He was still accepting the Lightning Sage's inheritance in the Hundred Saints' Inheritance Palace. Every martial artist could only accept one inheritance. Every minute and every second in the Inheritance Palace was precious. This was because the inheritance time was limited. The inheritance light in the palace was separated into 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years. Only exceptional prodigies could accept the inheritance for 5 years. As for how much they could comprehend, it depended on their luck and talent. However, even if it was only 1 year, cultivating and comprehending with the inheritance light was thousands of times faster than cultivating by oneself. This was the gift of Tao. Before accepting the inheritance, Lin Feng had already merged his 2 true dragon clones. After all, this would affect his efficiency of accepting the inheritance. This was the only sage inheritance, so he naturally had to be in his best condition. The Tao of Lightning, the Tao of Cloud Thunder, and the Tao of Thunder Explosion. Lin Feng focused on cultivating these 3 Taos. Profound intent cultivation was not rushed. Using battles would often allow one to comprehend it faster than normal. However, the Tao of Origin was different. The improvement of the Tao of Origin was very slow. Furthermore, the Tao of Origin was not only able to increase one's battle strength, more importantly, Origin Star World. The Origin Star Realm was the foundation of a cultivator's strength. Lin Feng's battle prowess had long reached the Silver Core level. Including his Realm Power Cultivator, his innate soul level was also at the Silver Core level. However, the Soul of the Earth level had remained at the Silver Plate level because the Origin Star Realm's telekinesis distance was not enough. Only with a telepathic distance of 10 million would one be considered a Silver Core. Lin Feng wasn't that far off. My Tao of Lightning and Tao of Cloud Thunder have long been at the 5th level. My current mental strength distance is about 7 million. As long as my Tao of Thunderburst reaches the 5th level, my mental strength distance will increase to 6 million, breaking through the 6th level of the Origin Star Realm. For every Tao of Origin, the perception distance would increase to 100,000 upon reaching the 4th level and 1 million upon reaching the 5th level. Lin Feng's spiritual sense was only slightly more than 9 million. During the 15-year journey, the 2 true dragon avatars had helped him a lot. The first true dragon avatar had raised many great Taos of the Origins of Darkness to the 4th level. The second true dragon avatar had raised 4 great Taos of Light to the 3rd level. The most talented great Taos of Light to the 4th level. The increase of the perception distance in the Origin Star Realm is usually divided into 3 levels: Bloodline, Heart Cultivation, and Tao Cultivation. Among them, Bloodline and Heart Cultivation take up 50%, while Tao Cultivation takes up 50%. Now, Lin Feng had a better understanding of the cultivation in the Origin Star Realm. Bloodline was easy to understand. It was one's bloodline and genes. As one's strength increased, one's body changed, and one's life level increased. The bloodline would change, either slightly or suddenly. Heart cultivation was mainly the aspect of heart strength. The branches of heart strength were all part of heart cultivation, such as battle prowess, heaven eye cultivation, saber heart, and so on. Tao cultivation was the key to the soul of the earth. The cultivation of each Tao of origin was the most direct. My Tao of dark devil, annihilation, cloud thunder, lightning, and thunder are all at the 5th level. Just these 5 great Taos alone have a perception distance of 5 million. Together with the 9 Tao of origin that are at the 4th level, I have a perception distance of 9 million, which has already exceeded the quota of 50%. But my perception distance is still only 7 million. From the White Commander's words, Lin Feng knew that his attainments in the Tao of origin cultivation were already quite deep. His heart cultivation was also not bad. Together with the improvement of his soul of talent to the silver core level, 7 million perception distance was actually not much at all. Logically speaking, it should be more than that. Bloodline. Lin Feng thought to himself. His bloodline had not had a breakthrough for a long time. It was as if it was covered in dust. Previously, his breakthrough in the origin star realm relied more on the improvement of his bloodline than the Tao of origin. But now, it was the exact opposite. My bloodline is not bad. Moreover, I am a descendant of the first generation of humans on Earth. If I don't improve now, it might be that I haven't met the requirements to improve my bloodline. But I wonder, what are the requirements? Lin Feng was very curious about the improvement of his bloodline. His light and darkness body was already quite powerful. What would happen if he improved it further? The tyrannical black-haired giant was still deeply imprinted in his mind. He stood tall in the sky. That blood-red saber killed all the divine soldiers and divine generals under the radiance of the divine patterns. He was invincible in the sky. How could such a god bloodline be bad? Good preparation. One day, my bloodline will completely erupt. Lin Feng was secretly looking forward to it. Lin Feng was waiting for his bloodline to erupt. The improvement of the origin star realm and the speed of the inheritance were much faster than he had expected. In less than a month, Lin Feng had comprehended the 5th level of the Tao of Thunderblast. He had completely expanded the origin star realm's perception range. Silver Core Expert. At this moment, Lin Feng had truly stepped into the Silver Core level. Feeling the endless power in his body and the surging growth of the Light Core, Dark Core, and Thunder Core, Lin Feng was very satisfied. Although upgrading the Origin Star realm from level 5 to level 6 required a lot of Ian crystals, he was not in a hurry. He was still in the process of receiving the inheritance. Besides, he was not the only one in the hall. Lin Feng continued to receive the inheritance. Originally, my combat strength was comparable to an ordinary Silver Core expert. During the previous journey, Lin Feng had sparred with the 14 guards more than once. He could fight them to a draw if he went all out. But now, I can't surpass them. Lin Feng was very confident. After receiving the inheritance and learning the 6-star profound meaning, I should be able to fight evenly with the Mo Tai and Mo Shur brothers. I might even defeat them. In the 100 Saints Inheritance Hall, whoosh, a pair of exquisite eyes opened. The light was enough to see through one's heart. It was a woman with snow-white skin. She slowly stood up, picked up the red bough on the ground, and carried it on her left shoulder. She was the first-grade genius, Hong Ling, who had just received the inheritance. Hong Ling was slightly surprised to see a familiar figure. It was a human expert like her, the one who had defeated everyone and won the 100 Saints Cup. Nirvana Heart? He really joined the 100 Saints Martial Hall. Extra-grade genius. Hong Ling gritted her teeth with a complicated expression. After all, she was the pride of the Blue Arrow human race. A first-grade genius also had impressive talent. I will definitely surpass you, Hong Ling thought to herself. Although my combat strength is not as good as yours now, after receiving the Saint's inheritance, we are on the same starting line again. I will not lose. Hong Ling bit her red lips and took a deep look at Lin Feng before leaving the inheritance hall. Chapter 1290. 5 years passed by very quickly. To a nebula-level martial artist, it was just a blink of an eye. The comprehension of the Tao of origin and profound meaning would get harder and harder to understand as one progressed. Usually, one comprehension would take thousands or even tens of thousands of years. 5 years was indeed very short. It's over. Lin Feng felt his consciousness clear up and returned to his body from a white area. Lin Feng let out a long breath and opened his eyes. It was too fast. He only had time to raise his lightning Tao, thundercloud Tao, and thunder explosion Tao to level 6 cultivation. He had just cultivated one profound meaning and the inheritance had ended. I cultivated too little, Lin Feng muttered as he stood up. He did not know that he had comprehended quite a lot of Tao in the past 5 years, far surpassing the martial artists who received the inheritance. 3 Tao of origin to the 6th level of cultivation, plus a 6th level profound meaning. As his heart force increased, not only did Lin Feng's willpower increase, but his comprehension and perception of the heavenly Tao also increased. Lin Feng turned around when he felt numerous gazes converging on him. His gaze swept past everyone in the hall, and then he nodded with a light smile before he strode off. He also understood that a unique prodigy receiving the inheritance was something that everyone paid attention to. He did not care too much. Lin Feng did not know that he was now famous in the 100 Saints galaxy. Junior brother and the White Commander must have waited for a long time. Lin Feng quickened his pace and left the main hall. The third-grade prodigies outside looked at him with envy and were still praying for the Saints' inheritance. So many people. Lin Feng was slightly startled. After leaving the main hall, he quickly found the White Commander with a gentle smile. He was waiting for him with his hands behind his back. However, there were hundreds of martial artists gathered around the White Commander. Most of them were silver heart experts. Moreover, they were terrifyingly strong. Many of them had the 100 Saints Martial Hall logo on their chests. He had seen such a logo before. It was the same as Hall Master Luo. He's out. This is the unique prodigy Lin Feng? He's so young. Lin Feng's appearance caused a heated discussion. Lin Feng also felt a little stunned when hundreds of gazes looked over. Almost every one of these experts was stronger than him. Among them, there were dozens of Hall Masters. What were they doing here? Looking for him? Young Master. The White Commander greeted him with a smile. Congratulations, young Master, for obtaining the inheritance. The White Commander bowed, slightly with a smile in his eyes. Ha! A hearty laugh rang out, and a man whose eyes narrowed into slits walked over. He patted Lin Feng's shoulder with one hand and said, "Sure enough, heroes come from youngsters. You live up to your reputation. Hello, you can call me Hall Master Luo. I am from the Saint Suyu's lineage," Hall Master Luo said with a smile. Lin Feng had yet to react. "Old he, you're quite fast." Another tall man squeezed in from the outside. His face was covered in moss. He smiled at Lin Feng and said, "Nice to meet you, Brother Lin. I am Hall Master Yu, from the Sky Ice Saints bloodline. Brother Lin, I am Hall Master Qi, from the Saint Huang Ku's bloodline. I am Hall Master Luo, from the Saint Su Cheng's bloodline." One by one, the palace masters squeezed forward to announce their names. Lin Feng was overwhelmed by the number of people and had no idea what was going on. At this moment, the White Commander leaned close to Lin Feng's ear and explained the current situation to him. Ever since Lin Feng's name spread throughout the 100 Saints galaxy, many Hall Masters have been waiting for the 5-year period to come and recruit Lin Feng. "Those who came are all famous Saint Hall Masters," the White Commander said. Lin Feng nodded. There were a lot of Hall Masters in the 100 Saints Martial Palace. As long as one's strength reached the peak of the cosmic system state, one could become a Hall Master. If all of them came, it would probably be overcrowded. Usually, Hall Masters would only come if a saint sent them. Under a saint, there would be at least a dozen Hall Masters. There was no need for all of them to come. Moreover, there was a convention for special grade prodigies. They would either join the saint who recruited them or join the saint who inherited their heritage. Although the other saints knew about it, they still wanted to try and see if there was hope. Lin Feng smiled bitterly in his heart. He roughly knew the situation from the White Commander, but there were so many Hall Masters in front of him. He couldn't leave, but he couldn't stay either. Every Hall Master was very attentive and called him brother. Suddenly, boom, a thunderous explosion sounded. In an instant, the Hall Masters' hearts sank and their faces changed. Lin Feng looked up. At this moment, lightning flashed in the void, and a bolt of lightning fell from the sky. Ha! A green figure appeared in the void. He had green skin, a sharp chin, and triangular ears. One could tell at a glance that he was a powerful being from the demon race. His green eyes were very demonic. With his hands behind his back, he brought with him an invisible and powerful force. "Greetings, Saint." The Hall Masters bowed and shouted in unison. Lin Feng followed suit. "Saint." Lin Feng's heart raced. It was his first time seeing a saint, the legendary Black Hole Master. This cyan demon saint appeared like a bolt of lightning. It was so fast that no one saw how he appeared. His strength is on a completely different level from these Hall Masters. Lin Feng was shocked. A Black Hole Master. Legend had it that he could enter the dark matter passage with his physical body and even enter and exit a black hole. "You're Lin Feng." A green light flashed in the green demon race saint's eyes and looked directly at Lin Feng. In an instant, Lin Feng felt a tightness in his chest. It was as if his entire body was seen through. Therefore, he couldn't hide any secrets from this saint. "Your realm power cultivation is not bad." The green demon race saint nodded in satisfaction. The corner of his mouth lifted slightly, and he continued, "I heard that you received the lightning saint's inheritance." "Yes, saint," Lin Feng answered. The green demon race saint smiled and nodded. "Very good, a smart choice. You and I are both from the lightning saint's bloodline. It's fate." "Lin Feng, are you willing to become my disciple?" Become the disciple of a saint. Not only Lin Feng was shocked, but so were the other Hall Masters. Saints rarely took in disciples because there was no such tradition. If a saint took in a disciple, it would be a grand affair and would do his best to help that disciple become a talent. It could be said that out of 10 saint disciples, 7 or 8 would become saints. This was a rare opportunity for every special grade prodigy. The Hall Masters looked at Lin Feng with envy. They were all cosmic system states. Which one of them didn't want to become the disciple of a saint? Only a few Hall Masters who had followed the saint for countless epochs had this opportunity. Lin Feng just entered the 100 Saints Martial Palace, but he already got such a great opportunity. Comparisons were odious. Suddenly, "Green Demon, this isn't very nice of you." A powerful voice sounded, and the space shook abnormally. A black crack appeared in the shape of a crane, and a figure in black armor appeared. To be continued. Chapter 1291. Another one? Lin Feng stared blankly at the newcomer. He naturally didn't recognize him, but his aura wasn't any weaker than Saint Qin Yao's. The strong physique under the black armor contained a dark aura. It was a human expert. "Greetings, Saint." All the Hall Masters bowed. Lin Feng followed suit and bowed. His eyes lit up when he saw the newcomer. Beside the black-armored human saint, there were 4 Hall Masters, and he recognized one of them. Hall Master Crane. Lin Feng instantly understood. It was obvious that the black-armored human saint was the saint that Hall Master Crane belonged to. The White Commander had mentioned him before, Saint Crane. You came quickly." Saint Qin Yao sneered. He was obviously unhappy with Saint Crane's arrival. Saint Crane laughed heartily. "If I came later, I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to take in a disciple today, and someone else would beat me to it." As soon as he finished, all the Hall Masters were envious. They also wanted to be taken in as a disciple by a saint. But even if they kneeled for an era, a saint wouldn't take a fancy to them. Moreover, although there were many saints in the 100 Saints Martial Arts Hall, Saint Qin Yao and Saint Crane were both outstanding. It was already a great fortune to be taken in as a disciple by either of them. This unique genius Lin Feng in front of them actually caused 2 saints to fight over him. If other unique geniuses saw this, they would be jealous to death. "You're Lin Feng. You look talented." Not bad at all." Saint Crane squinted his eyes and smiled. He sized up Lin Feng and said, How about it, little guy? Will you follow me? Okay, St. Crane. Lin Feng's straightforwardness and decisiveness stunned everyone. One had to know that St. Qin Yao was not the slightest bit inferior to St. Crane, yet Lin Feng did not even consider and directly agreed to St. Crane's request. Thank you for your kindness, Senior. Lin Feng bowed slightly to St. Qin Yao and said, but Hall Master Crane has been kind to me. Please forgive me, Senior Qin Yao. A little bit of kindness should be repaid with a gushing spring. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't forget that it was Hall Master Luo who had discovered him and came all the way from the Black Wolf Gold Empire to pick him up. Yes. St. Qin Yao clasped his hands behind his back as he raised his head and casually responded. He did not say anything else and merely shot a displeased glance at St. Crane from the corner of his eyes. Then, his body transformed into a bolt of green lightning and disappeared. Crane Saint laughed heartily and patted Lin Feng's shoulder. Come with me. Lin Feng nodded. All of a sudden, a huge force of darkness engulfed Lin Feng, and all he saw was a blur in front of him. Then, he found himself on a piece of the debris of the stars, which was where 100 Saints number 7 had stopped. You guys go back first, Crane Saint said. Yes, Saint. Hall Master Luo, the other 3, and the White Commander bowed. Crane Saint nodded. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt his body shake violently. The scene in front of him suddenly changed. Scenes of the universe flashed in front of his eyes. With his eyesight, he could barely see a trace of it. After an unknown period of time, the image in front of him stopped moving. Thud! Lin Feng stopped. His gaze quickly swept across the area. In front of him was a world that stretched as far as the eye could see. Huge palaces were scattered all over the place. And in front of the largest palace that was made of white jade, there was a group of Silver Heart rank and Silver Core rank powerhouses who were waiting with raised heads. Greetings, Saint. All the experts bowed respectfully. Crane Saint smiled heartily at Lin Feng. Come with me. This is the Crane Saint Palace. Relax. Then, he patted Lin Feng's shoulder and walked toward the Jade Palace. Lin Feng followed. On both sides, there were envious eyes of the Silver Heart and Silver Core experts. In the Crane Saint Palace, apart from the various Hall Masters, only Crane Saint's disciples could enter. Lin Feng entered the Crane Saint Palace. Grand and imposing, the Crane Saint Palace was filled with a powerful aura. The seat at the top of the main hall was covered with a layer of silver fur of a star beast. Behind the seat stood a large purple crane. The scales on its body were like steel thorns, shining with a cold light. In the deepest part of the main hall, there was a statue of a saint that was 1,000 meters tall. It was a man with his hands slightly open, as if holding the moon. His cheekbones were extremely high, and his hair was standing on end. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He recognized this man. He was one of the 18 middle saints in the 100 Prosperity Inheritance main hall. He had also issued the light of inheritance to him, cultivating the path of darkness. Lin Feng remembered very clearly. Come, Lin Feng. Crane Saint was very enthusiastic and cheerful. He hugged Lin Feng. I don't care about secular etiquette, but the tradition of the 100 Saints Martial Hall cannot be ignored. Since you are my disciple, let's do it formally. Although you are not the successor of Saint Anin, it is fate that you are my disciple. Saint Anin is my witness. I, Crane Saint, will take Lin Feng as my 5th disciple from today onwards. I will do my best to nurture him. Crane Saint laughed heartily. He filled the wine cups in his hands and handed one to Lin Feng while holding the other. Master. Lin Feng bowed respectfully. Under the witness of Saint Anin, the ceremony of becoming his disciple was completed. The master and disciple toasted and drank the wine in one gulp. Lin Feng had a rather good impression of Crane Saint. He had also heard of many of her deeds from the White Commander. She had a straightforward personality, did not bother about trifles, and was very loyal. Among the many saints, Crane Saint could be considered to have taken in more disciples. However, Crane Saint had lived for hundreds of years. Including Lin Feng, it was not a lot to take in 5 disciples. Your eldest senior brother is Saint in Wu, and your second senior brother is Saint in Shui. Crane Saint smiled. If there is a chance, I will introduce you to them. Both of them are already famous. Your second senior brother's strength is even higher than mine. Lin Feng nodded. Saints did not take in disciples easily. Once they did, they would do their best to nurture them. It was not surprising that his eldest senior brother and second senior brother were both saints. Your third senior brother, Crane Saint sighed. He died in that big event 100 years ago. Your fourth senior sister entered the sect 20 years earlier than you. She is now a silver heart expert. Although you are ranked 5th, your status is equal to the other palace masters. Since Palace Master Hua is fated to be with you, I will entrust you to him. In the future, if you have any problems, you can find Palace Master Hua. If it is an urgent matter, you can come to Crane Saint Palace to find me. But remember, it is an urgent matter, Crane Saint exhorted. Yes, master. Lin Feng felt warmth in his heart. Ordinary martial artists were not allowed to be disturbed when they were cultivating. Crane Saint smiled and patted Lin Feng's shoulder. Don't worry, I don't have any other rules. You can do whatever you want, but remember, you are not allowed to harm your fellow disciples. You are not allowed to harm the 100 Saints' martial palace. Do you understand? Yes, master. Lin Feng nodded with a serious expression. Crane Saint nodded with satisfaction. He muttered, I just came back not long ago. I didn't have time to prepare any treasures. As for the gift, it doesn't matter, master. Lin Feng said. Saint Crane rolled his eyes. What do you mean it's all right? If I don't even give you a gift for becoming my disciple, won't I become a laughingstock if word gets out? Saint Crane frowned slightly. He pondered for a moment before his eyes suddenly lit up. Yes, this should be suitable for you. Chapter 1292. Clang. Crane Saint pulled out a saber. The saber was blue in color and had ancient runes on it. The saber gave off a feeling of slumber as it lay there quietly, as though it was asleep. There was an indigo crystal-like substance embedded on the saber hilt. Teacher, this is... Lin Feng's heart trembled slightly as he felt the attraction of the saber. It was emitted by the heart. The stronger the saber heart, the stronger the comprehension. This saber was stronger than his black saber of sin. Much stronger. Lin Feng instantly judged. Crane Saint caressed the saber and murmured, Even I can't figure out the mystery of the runes on this saber. Ever since I obtained it in the ancient myriad world's secret realm 1,000,000 years ago, I have studied it carefully for thousands of years, but to no avail. The only thing I know is that this saber contains power that surpasses the nebula level. As time passed, I also forgot about it. Crane Saint laughed heartily. I just remembered that you also use the saber. I'll get it to you. Thank you, teacher. Lin Feng received it respectfully. The apprenticeship ceremony was a tradition. The teacher and the disciple used the ceremony to improve their relationship. Clang! When a 7 blue battle saber fell into Lin Feng's hand, it suddenly vibrated slightly. Lin Feng was not the only one who gasped in surprise. Saint Crane even widened his eyes and slapped his thigh. I'm so stupid. A saber is naturally a martial artist who has the saber heart and uses the saber. He laughed heartily. Crane Saint wasn't unhappy at all. Instead, he was happy to have solved the doubts in his heart. Patting Lin Feng's shoulder, Crane Saint smiled. Disciple, it seems that this saber likes you very much. And Lin Feng smiled and nodded. He also felt that this saber seemed to be very compatible with him. Right? This saber was obtained in the ancient myriad world's secret realm 1,000,000 years ago. Could it be? Lin Feng looked at Crane Saint and asked, Teacher, is the Ionic myriad world's secret domain the place where third senior brother died? Crane Saint nodded and looked at Lin Feng. You want to know about the myriad world's secret lands? Lin Feng's eyes lit up and he nodded. Crane Saint said, This isn't a big secret. Most silver heart experts know about it. The ancient myriad world's secret realm is actually inside the Milky Way superblack hole. Galactic superblack hole? Crane Saint said, Black holes are part of the universe. You can even think of them as life forms because they can absorb the energy of the universe and devour all things to grow. Lin Feng opened his eyes wide and listened carefully. Just like how we cultivate and absorb the energy of the universe to strengthen ourselves, black holes do the same. They absorb the energy of the universe and devour everything that comes close to them. Stars, planets, and all kinds of matter. Black holes will convert and release energy, forming a black domain. Every black hole has its own black domain. The only difference is the size. In the universe, many almighty masters or top-notch black hole elites usually have one or more black domains as their territories. Lin Feng nodded. His teacher, the True Dragon Sovereign, controlled the True Dragon Black Domain. The Milky Way was actually the Milky Way Black Domain. Crane Saint continued. Under normal circumstances, black holes will digest and absorb energy and matter, then convert it into new energy to support the growth of the black domain. Our Milky Way Black Domain is the same. But in fact, the Milky Way super black hole entered a state of decline 1 billion years ago, which is 100,000 years ago. State of decline? Lin Feng was slightly taken aback. Crane Saint said, "You can think of it as the old state of an ordinary human being on the verge of death. At that time, the Milky Way super black hole can no longer convert new energy to support the Milky Way black domain. It can only barely maintain itself and survive. To put it nicely, it is prolonging its life. To put it bluntly, it is prolonging its last breath. Therefore, in the past billion years, the number of stars born in the Milky Way has been decreasing, and the energy absorption has been weakening." Lin Feng nodded. Because the new energy was decreasing. Wait, Lin Feng suddenly said, that means the Milky Way super black hole is close to death. What do you think? Crane Saint said with a faint smile. Boom. Lin Feng's expression changed. The image of the black hole rapidly shrinking, collapsing, and finally turning into nothingness appeared in his mind. Cold sweat dripped from his forehead. Don't worry, the Milky Way super black hole has not reached its final state of death yet. Crane Saint said, it is like an old man past his prime. It can still barely devour the energy of the universe outside. Once it loses the power to devour, it means that the countdown to death has entered. At that time, the Milky Way super black hole will crazily absorb the energy of the Milky Way black domain. All the galaxies and stars will be absorbed by it. It will continue to shrink until it is close to death. In the end, it will absorb all the energy of the Milky Way black domain and return everything to destruction and nothingness. We humans have a lifespan. Every planet and star has a lifespan. Naturally, the black hole has a lifespan. Even the universe has a lifespan. Crane Saint burst into laughter. Are you scared? Lin Feng smiled bitterly. How could he not be scared? He didn't know that the Milky Way super black hole had entered a state of decline. In other words, once it entered the final countdown, everything in the Milky Way would be destroyed. Teacher, how long will the Milky Way super black hole's state of decline last? Lin Feng asked. I don't know. Crane Saint shrugged and looked into the distance. It could be hundreds of millions of years or tens of thousands of years, or even Crane Saint smiled. Tomorrow? Who knows? Lin Feng took a deep breath. His teacher was really good at shocking people with his words. Compared to the universe, humans are really too small, Lin Feng said in his heart. After receiving so much information at once, it took him a long time to calm down. He was still fine. After all, Teacher True Dragon Sovereign had left behind the Great Wall. Even if the Milky Way super black hole entered its final state of decline, he could still take his family and hide in the True Dragon Black Domain. But the Milky Way would no longer exist. Can't black hole elites resist the tearing force of the black hole and freely enter and exit the black hole? Lin Feng asked. Crane Saint shook his head. Black hole powerhouses are just a general term. Just like how Star Realm powerhouses are divided into Star Realm, and Galaxy Realm, black hole powerhouses are also divided into 3 levels: Dark Matter powerhouses, Chaos Immortal, and Black Domain Master. Black Domain Masters can enter and exit the black hole at will and even control a black domain. Chaos Immortals aren't certain. It depends on the tearing force of the black hole. Although Dark Matter elites can teleport and enter the Dark Matter passage, they can't enter and exit the black hole. I'm just a Dark Matter elite. Crane Saint laughed heartily. Lin Feng nodded. It seemed that his teacher, True Dragon Sovereign, should be a Black Domain Master. You're digressing. Crane's Saint smiled. Even if the sky falls, we can't control when the Milky Way superblack hole enters its state of decline. Who cares? Back to the eternal myriad world secret realm. Carrot. Chapter 1293. The ancient myriad world secret realm is actually at the center of the Milky Way superblack hole. Crane Saint said, "It's a completely different world. It's huge and dangerous, but with danger comes endless opportunities and treasures. In the ancient myriad world secret realm, you can find treasures beyond the galaxy level. We call them black hole mystic treasures. Black hole mystic treasures are usually used by dark matter powerhouses and chaos immortals. They're divided into ordinary, powerful, top tier, and pinnacle grades. However, top tier and pinnacle black hole mystic treasures are rare. It's very difficult for the Milky Way super black hole to devour treasures of this grade." Lin Feng nodded. Devouring also depended on the level of power. Won't they be absorbed by the Milky Way super black hole? Lin Feng was confused. According to his teacher, the Milky Way super black hole would devour and convert it into its own energy. There was no reason for it to let go of these treasures. Crane Saint smiled. Although the Milky Way super black hole has entered the decline period, because the energy supplied to the Milky Way black field has decreased a lot, the energy it devours is more than the energy it consumes. Even the decline period is divided into stages. The first stage, energy devouring exceeds energy consumption. The second stage, energy devouring equals energy consumption. The third stage, energy devouring is less than energy consumption. Lin Feng said thoughtfully, "So the Milky Way super black hole's decline period is in the first stage?" Crane Saint said, "It was 100 years ago, but not necessarily now. Every era, the Milky Way super black hole's energy supply to the Milky Way black field is decreasing. I believe it will enter the second stage soon. At that time, the Milky Way super black hole will completely stop supplying energy to the Milky Way black field and prioritize itself. And now, because it's still in the first stage, the Milky Way super black hole still has plenty of food stored in its body. It will prioritize materials that are easy to digest, such as cosmic energy, ordinary asteroids, and so on." Lin Feng understood. Simply put, the ancient myriad world secret realm was the Milky Way super black hole's food storage. It stored everything absorbed by the Milky Way super black hole for countless eras. The harder it was to digest, the better it was. If we snatch these treasures, will it affect the Milky Way super black hole? Lin Feng suddenly asked. Of course, because we're taking its food. Crane Saint moved his head and said, "But it doesn't matter. Once you enter the third stage, or even the death stage, the energy absorption of the Milky Way super black hole is terrifying. There's not much difference between more and less. But for all the black hole powerhouses, this is a chance to survive." Crane Saint's eyes lit up. "If I can obtain some top-notch or even pinnacle black hole mystic treasures and refine them for my own use, especially defensive treasures, then even a dark matter expert may be able to escape from the Milky Way super black hole and be reborn." Lin Feng nodded in realization. Who would want to die if they could live? The universe outside was boundless. Staying in the dark domain of the Milky Way was like a frog at the bottom of a well. Black hole-level powerhouses? His teacher, the true dragon monarch, the master of the black domain, was only a slightly dazzling star in the vast universe. Above the black hole level, there was the existence of the Lord God, even a master of the 10,000 origin mustard stone, the 10,000 origin sovereign. Coming out of the Crane's sacred palace, Lin Feng's state of mind was still hard to calm down. After this conversation with his teacher, he gained a deeper understanding of the Milky Way. Decline and fall, from the first stage to the second stage, and then to the third stage, the duration would get shorter and shorter. According to his teacher, judging from the growth rate of the stars in the dark domain of the Milky Way, it was almost the end of the first stage. Actually, it's normal. The first stage of a normal black hole's decline and fall is 100 to 200 million years. Although the Milky Way super black hole is big, 1 billion years is long enough. Lin Feng understood his teacher's thoughts. No one knew what would happen tomorrow. The decline and fall was normally gradual, but no one dared to guarantee it. It was like a person who had been ill for a long time, suddenly deteriorating rapidly, quickly entering the second or third stage, or even dying directly. For everyone, survival was often the number one rule, especially those saints who were already standing at the top of the dark domain of the Milky Way. Young Master. The White Commander gently crossed his arms and stood respectfully. Behind the White Commander, the two brothers Mo Tai and Mo Shur were like two giant iron pillars, standing still. The 14 guards were lined up in order, and all of them had a look of reverence on their faces. The more famous the young master was, the higher his potential, and the higher their status. White Commander, Lin Feng greeted. Looking at the palaces in front of him, Lin Feng couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. He could finally settle down and didn't need to worry like he did in the Black Wolf Gold Empire. Now, he finally understood why the White Commander and the others looked at the Black Wolf Gold Empire indifferently and calmly. Even the princes weren't worthy of their attention. It didn't matter even if they killed all of them, because in the eyes of the 100 Saints Palace, the Black Wolf Gold Empire was just an ant. Depending on one's position, one would see different things. The Black Wolf Gold Empire was still fighting with the other 76 empires on the extreme arm. Their vision was limited. The 100 Saints Palace, including the 7 great empires, had no interest in internal strife at all. Everyone's goal was the same: to leave the Milky Way super black hole in the decline. A mere Black Wolf Gold Empire didn't even need a saint to take action. A team of silver heart-level powerhouses could destroy it. You better not have any bad ideas, or else. Lin Feng thought of the third prince of the Black Wolf Gold Empire, Sa'in, and those powerhouses of the Wolf Clan. He wasn't afraid of them that day, let alone now. Don't blame me for being ruthless. Under the accompaniment of the White Commander, Lin Feng quickly familiarized himself with his territory. The Crane Saint Planet number 5 was a satellite of the Crane Saint Planet, and the Crane Saint Planet was where his teacher, the Crane Saint Palace, was located. The Crane Saint could reach this distance with a teleportation. The Crane Saint Planet number 5 wasn't big. It was only about 1/10 the size of Saturn. Even so, it was still much bigger than Earth. Soon, the White Commander left. On the vast training field, Lin Feng took out the 7 blue battle saber. This was the gift his teacher gave him for apprenticeship. Although his teacher was smiling when he gave him the saber, his teacher still looked sad when he mentioned his third senior brother. Teacher is also a sentimental person, Lin Feng said softly. Lin Feng also felt pity for the death of his third senior brother, whom he had never met. Just as his teacher said, the ancient Myriad World secret realm was very dangerous. Even a saint could die there, let alone a silver heart-level powerhouse. Clang! Lin Feng waved the 7 blue battle saber, his eyes sparkling. At this moment, Lin Feng sensed the arrival of a powerful aura. He turned around and saw a beautiful woman wearing a light yellow female armor and rose-red boots. She had arched eyebrows and almond-shaped eyes. She had a smile on her face. Junior brother. To be continued. Chapter 1294. Junior brother? Lin Feng was slightly startled, but he immediately reacted. This beautiful woman with willowy eyebrows and almond eyes was most likely his 4th senior sister. She was a silver heart expert who had joined the sect 20 years earlier than him, Lu Qin. Silver heart experts had a lifespan of 500 years. 20 years was not long. Hello, senior sister. Lin Feng nodded slightly. Lu Qin smiled, revealing 2 dimples. You don't have to be so polite in the future. We are family. Teacher should have introduced me to you. My name is Lu Qin. You can call me 4th senior sister. As she spoke, she stretched out her white right hand. Lin Feng. Lin Feng shook her hand. They looked at each other and smiled. Usually, the relationship between fellow disciples was the closest. Junior brother, since you are here, I won't be lonely anymore. Lu Qin's dimples were very cute. She pouted slightly. Eldest senior brother and 2nd senior brother are both saints. There's always some distance between us. Lin Feng smiled. His 4th senior sister, looked very approachable. I heard that junior brother caused a big commotion this time. Lu Qin blinked. She held her chin and asked, "Actually, junior brother, I want to know how you managed to trigger 11 light of inheritance." "Maybe it's because I've learned a lot of things," Lin Feng said humbly. "Oh, I see." Lu Qin gently nodded. Suddenly, her eyes revealed an excited expression. "Let's exchange pointers, junior brother." "Spar?" Lin Feng looked at his eager senior sister. He could not bear to reject her and nodded. Naturally, Lin Feng was no match for a silver core rank to challenge a silver core rank. However, he could learn a lot from sparring with his senior sister. Especially since she also used the saber, her saber heart was very high. "Senior sister, your saber heart is very high." Lin Feng was amazed. He felt that his senior apprentice sister's saber heart was almost on par with the saber saint he had seen in the 100 Bloom Legacy Hall. His senior sister was only a silver heart expert. It was too unbelievable. "I inherited the saber saint's saber heart. My saber heart is at the limit of the 10th level." Lu Qin revealed her dimples. "The limit of the 10th level," Lin Feng exclaimed. Yi Futian's saber heart was 2 levels higher than his own. Of course, to be able to become your senior sister, she must have some skills. Otherwise, how could she suppress a little demon like you? Senior sister Lu Qin looked at Lin Feng with her beautiful eyes and exclaimed in surprise in her heart. Only after personally experiencing it did she know that the rumors were true. This junior brother of hers was indeed extraordinary. Lin Feng nodded. A saint's disciple was even rarer than a special grade genius. "I don't know if senior sister has the time, but junior brother has an unsolicited request." Lin Feng bowed slightly. Senior sister Lu Qin raised her eyebrows and said with a smile, "You sly junior brother, how can I refuse you? Speak, what is it?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "I hope senior sister can give me some pointers on the path of the saber." His saber heart was currently at the peak of Tier 8. It would not be easy for him to upgrade it to Tier 9. Normally, silver core experts would have Tier 8 saber heart. Tier 9 was the standard for silver core experts. "It's a piece of cake," senior sister Lu Qin said. "Master has already told me. I originally planned to do so. After all, in more than 100 years, the Dongwang Empire will hold the Dongwang Genius Battle once every era. Only silver core experts can participate. We, the 100 Saints Martial Palace, have 32 places. Master will recommend you to participate." Lin Feng was slightly surprised. Senior sister Lu Qin smiled and said, "Because you are Master's disciple, you don't need to participate in the selection. In this era, there are 6 people, including you, who have been accepted as disciples by saints. 4 of them are silver core experts and have passed the selection. The remaining 28 places will be contested by silver core warriors under the age of 10 eras in the 100 Saints Martial Palace. By the way, junior brother, you look very young. How old are you?" Lin Feng answered 68 years. Senior sister Lu Qin's eyes widened. 68 years? Less than 100 years. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. No wonder Lu Qin was so surprised. The further one cultivated, the harder it would be. Generally, it would take about 1 era for a genius warrior to reach the silver core level. Especially for a genius warrior, it would take him thousands of years to cultivate. Lin Feng, however, had only cultivated for less than 100 years. Lu Qin didn't know how much time the 10,000 origin mustard stone had saved Lin Feng. Otherwise, it would have taken him more than 1,000 years to absorb the energy. "You are really a monster, junior brother." Lu Qin touched her smooth and white forehead. "Senior sister, you are shocked. I boasted about my amazing cultivation speed. I became a silver core expert in 2,000 years and a silver core expert in 3 eras. Compared to you, I am so stupid." Lin Feng smiled and said, "Senior sister, you don't have to belittle yourself. I just had other opportunities." Lu Qin giggled, revealing 2 small dimples. "Don't worry, I'm not that petty. The more monstrous you are, the better. When the time comes, you'll bring glory to our faction. At the very least, you'll be in the top 100. Top 100? Lin Feng said softly. It seemed that the Dongwang genius battle was not easy. Thinking about it, his current combat power was about the diamond level in the Milky Way arena. He was on par with the Mo Tai and Mo Shi brothers. They were also qualified to participate in the battle. Senior sister Lu Qin raised her eyebrows. It is not that easy to get into the top 100. Everyone in the Milky Way arena has a king ranking. Lin Feng nodded. In the 100 Saint Palace, there were many silver core experts who were stronger than him. Mo Tai and Mo Shi were just guard commanders. The Dongwang genius battle was open to the entire Dongwang Empire. Come on, senior sister. Lin Feng was looking forward to it. Black Wolf, Jin Empire. Have you found out? The third prince, Sa'in, was wearing a luxurious royal robe. His eyes flashed with wolf-like viciousness. Your Highness, Lin Feng has no grudges with the wild wolf Han family. He has never met Han Zhongping. The leader of the third wolf clan team, Dead Wolf, said, the one who has teeth marks with Lin Feng is Han Zhongping's cousin, Mrs. Han, who lives in the Han family. Mrs. Han? The third prince, Sa'in, frowned. Dead Wolf reported. Mrs. Han married into the Jinlong clan in her early years. The one who has a grudge with Lin Feng is the Jinlong clan. According to my investigation, it is possible that the Jinlong clan wants to enslave Lin Feng's hometown, so they have a grudge against each other. The third prince, Sa'in, snorted in disdain. That Lin Feng is a member of the 100 Saints Palace. He still insisted on killing Han Zhongping in front of everyone. It is enough to prove that he is worried. It is not as simple as enslavement. Investigate again. There must be a secret in this. The third prince, Sa'in, shouted coldly. Yes, your highness. Dead Wolf left. Third prince, Sa-Yin's eyes were cold as greed and viciousness flickered in them. As long as I can get hold of this Lin Feng's weakness and use him for my own purposes, with the power of the 100 Saints Palace, let alone the position of monarch, even if my Black Wolf Gene Empire wants to unify the extreme cantilever arm. It is all possible. The battle for the throne is a battle of swords and blades. Why not make it fiercer? If I don't succeed, I will die trying. To be continued. Chapter 1295. Crane Saint Planet number 5. Blade Heart is actually split into two levels. One is the blade, the other is the heart. The blade refers to the battle blade in your hand. There is a huge difference between a blade with a spirit and one without. Of course, a true warrior can perfectly unleash his blade heart, even if he is holding a wood-chopping knife. However, in order to comprehend Saber Heart, it is best to choose a saber that is compatible with us and has a higher degree of spirituality. Under the guidance of senior sister Lu Qin, Lin Feng quickly began to practice and comprehend blade arts. Although teacher Crane Saint couldn't spare time to teach him, with senior sister Lu Qin's strength, the effect wasn't bad. And compared to teacher Crane Saint, senior sister Lu Qin had more time to teach him. And in terms of blade arts, senior sister Lu Qin was the best choice. Because teacher didn't use a blade. 7 Blue Battle Blade. Lin Feng followed senior sister Lu Qin's guidance and used Thunder Origin to sense the existence of the blade spirit. This was a black hole level battle blade. Its grade was at least powerful, because with teacher's strength, he could directly refine a normal black hole mystic treasure for his own use. But a powerful black hole mystic treasure, unless teacher's strength reached the immortal level, it would be very difficult to refine. Of course, it was difficult and not impossible. It was just that it was meaningless for teacher to spend a lot of time refining a blade. Can you feel the blade's spirit? Senior sister Lu Qin asked. Lin Feng's closed eyes slightly frowned. He could feel the 7 blue battle blades' friendliness towards him, but it was only friendliness. There's only a rhythm, but I can't really communicate with it. Lin Feng had been trying for a long time and felt the 7 blue battle blades liking towards Thunder Origin, but it still couldn't arouse its interest. It's been 10 days, give up. Senior sister Lu Qin said. Lin Feng opened his eyes and shook his head. What's the reason, senior sister? Lin Feng asked. There are many possibilities. Maybe your Thunder Origin isn't strong enough, or your strength is too weak. Or maybe your temperament isn't enough. Senior sister Lu Qin said, "Every battle blade is different. The blade has a spirit. As long as it truly recognizes you, the blade heart can only unleash 100% or even 10%. Lin Feng nodded. Although he had the nefarious black blade and had a high compatibility with it, its spirit was far inferior to the 7 blue battle blade. One was a cosmic system state, while the other was a black hole state. Don't worry. Senior sister Lu Qin smiled, revealing 2 dimples. There are 2 aspects to improving your saber heart. The first, saber, is only a part of it. The most important is the second, heart. The heart includes the heart force. The stronger the heart force, the faster the improvement of the saber heart realm. The upper limit will also be higher. Next is your saber heart, your comprehension of a saber, and your immersion in the saber Tao. The saber Tao is also a cultivation path that leads to the heavens. If a martial artist can step into the saber heavenly Tao, they will be invincible even with a woodcutter. Heavenly Tao of saber. Lin Feng sucked in a cold breath. As senior sister Lu Qin had said, a grandmaster who truly used the saber could unleash terrifying power no matter how ordinary the saber was. It's not easy to step into the saber heavenly Tao. Usually, one can only feel the existence of the saber heavenly Tao when their saber heart reaches level 12. Senior sister Lu Qin said, those who step into the saber heavenly Tao when their saber heart reaches level 11 are few and far between. Level 10 saber heart is the threshold of the saber heavenly Tao. Such a genius only appears once in 1,000 eras in the Milky Way. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as he looked at senior sister Lu Qin. Don't look at me. I can barely feel the existence of the saber heavenly Tao. Senior sister Lu Qin pursed her lips and shrugged. If you can step into the saber heavenly Tao, level 10 saber heart is enough to defeat level 11 saber heart martial artists. However, even if it's only a trace of the saber heavenly Tao, it has helped me a lot and allowed my saber heart to improve rapidly. Lin Feng nodded heavily. Endless desire surged from the bottom of his heart as his battle intent surged. Can you teach me, senior sister? Of course. Under the guidance of senior sister Lu Qin, Lin Feng made rapid progress. Lin Feng's heart energy was very strong to begin with, so he was able to comprehend the saber heart with half the effort. Although he was unable to faintly sense a trace of the heavenly saber Tao like his senior sister, Lin Feng had already broken through his limits and stepped into the ninefold saber heart in a mere year. In the 3rd year, his saber heart reached level 9, minute subtlety. In the 10th year, his saber heart reached the limit of level 9. Clap, clap. Lu Qin clapped her hands gently as her beautiful eyes shone with a strange light. Junior brother, your saber talent is too outstanding. It only took you 10 years to go from level 8 saber heart to level 9. Now I finally understand why you reached the silver core level in only 68 years. Lin Feng said humbly, without senior sister's careful guidance, let alone 10 years, even 100 years, it would be difficult to break through level 9 saber heart. Lu Qin smiled, revealing 2 dimples. Don't pretend to be a good boy. Okay, I've completed my mission. It's not easy to break through level 10 saber heart. You're on your own now. Okay, senior sister. Although Lin Feng hoped that Lu Qin could continue to teach him, he had already wasted 10 years of her time. Besides saber techniques, he still had other aspects to cultivate. The Donglong genius battle was less than 100 years away. He had to improve his strength as much as possible. Even if it was not for himself, he had to do it for his teacher. He had to be worthy of Lu Qin's teachings. Let's try out my current combat strength. Lin Feng smiled. In the martial arts arena, Lin Feng held the 7 blue saber and was fighting with the Mo Tai and Mo Shi brothers. The 7 blue saber in his hand was rolling with lightning, blooming with amazing power. Combined with level 9 saber heart, Lin Feng's close combat strength had greatly improved. Clang! Clang! Lin Feng was not at a disadvantage when fighting against 2 opponents. The white commander watched from the side with a slightly raised smile. He had seen the young master's improvement in the past 10 years. When Temple Master Yin asked him to be the chief steward, He hesitated, but finally decided to give it a try. Now it seemed that the decision back then was very correct. If I follow the young master, maybe one day I will have the chance to become a saint. The White Commander was looking forward to it. This was the hope of every chief steward. The White Commander's aptitude and comprehension were not bad, but his bloodline was limited and his talent was not enough, so he stopped at the Silver Heart level. Huh. Lin Feng's 7 blue saber roared with thunder. The origin of thunder rolled out with the 7 blue saber. The Mo Tai and Mo Sure brothers groaned and fell to the ground with injuries. Previously, they could still beat Lin Feng in 100 Saints number 7, but now it was 2 against 1, and they could not gain the upper hand. Level 9 Saber Heart, even among the Silver Core experts, was considered superior. Congratulations, young master. The White Commander and the guards behind him bowed. The Mo Tai and Mo Sure brothers also stood up with joy. Each of them sincerely hoped that the young master would become stronger. After following the young master, their fates were tied together with him. Lin Feng stood with his saber in hand. He was clear about his current strength. In the Milky Way arena, he was only at the upper diamond level. There was still a long way to go before he could become the king of the arena. To enter the top 100 of the Dongwang Genius Battle, becoming the king of the arena was the first condition. There is still time. Lin Feng's fighting spirit was surging. To be continued. Chapter 1296. Heart force is the foundation of everything. Heaven's whole cultivation is affected. The soul of the earth is affected. Battle power is affected. And even the saber heart is affected. Increasing my heart force is very helpful for comprehending the heavenly saber Tao. Lin Feng formed another true dragon avatar. If there are no special needs, the first avatar will continue to cultivate the True Dragon Cultivation Heart Sutra. Lin Feng split out 10% of his soul. Since his strongest aspect was his heart force, it proved that his heart force aptitude was not bad. A true powerhouse, other than having no shortcomings or weaknesses, must have an outstanding aspect. His was his heart force. Lin Feng set the key for cultivation. This time, he would condense the first true dragon clone and would not merge it again for a while. After all, the chances of running into danger while cultivating in the 100 Saints Martial Hall were low. There was not much of a difference between 90% and 100% combat prowess. For the second true dragon avatar, Lin Feng split out 40% of his soul. It mainly cultivated the body of light, body of darkness, and the Tao of origin. In Lin Feng's opinion, the reason why his bloodline could not be improved was not only because of his genetic life level, but also because of his light and dark Tao cultivation. His darkness cultivation was not bad, but his light cultivation, currently, it was far behind. He split into 2 paths. Lin Feng naturally would not place all his hopes on the body of light and darkness bloodline. The remaining 50% of his soul mainly cultivated the Lightning Saint's legacy. The reason why he chose the Lightning Saint in the 100 Saints Inheritance Palace was because soul battle power, a unique energy that combined battle power and elemental origin. Together with the saber art, it was very strong in battle. The two must be at a stable level before I can fuse them. Currently, my strongest elemental origin is thunder, and the 7 blue saber is compatible with the thunder origin. Walking on the path of the Lightning Saint's legacy is the most suitable. With the thunder origin, I can combine the Tao of lightning with the Overlord's battle strength. In the Lightning Saint's legacy, every step was clearly recorded. He also walked the lightning Tao. Fusing it with battle power would save Lin Feng a lot of time because he had a precedent. But I have to complete the first step first. The two must be at a stable level before I can fuse them. Okay, Lin Feng was very confident. Although he had not deliberately cultivated his combat strength before, it did not mean that he had neglected it. As a matter of fact, with the strength of his heart force, cultivating battle prowess was extremely efficient. In the 100 Saints Martial Hall, there were all sorts of battle prowess cultivation techniques. As a special grade genius and the disciple of the Crane Saint, Lin Feng didn't need to pay any price for cultivation techniques. If I can master the power of the soul, with the help of the Heaven's Hatred form and the Golden True Dragon body, his strength can reach the king of esports rank. Lin Feng was very confident. Combat power policy. 33 ways to increase battle power. On the improvement of battle power, Lin Feng flipped through the pages one by one. There was no fixed amount of increase in battle prowess because every martial artist's battle prowess was different. Combat power is condensed from the heart and erupted with strength. Even if they have the same battle prowess, there will be differences because of their different hearts and different powers. Lin Feng softly muttered. He was very clear about this point. This was because he and junior brother Xiang Yu both had the battle prowess of an overlord. However, at this point, there was an obvious difference between their overlord battle prowess. Junior brother Xiang Yu's overlord battle prowess was more vigorous and domineering, while his overlord battle prowess was more concentrated and powerful. My lightning Dao has already reached the limit of the silver core level, so my overlord battle prowess must also reach the limit of the silver core level. The improvement of battle prowess is not only related to the heart force, but also the strength of the body. The stronger the body, the stronger the battle prowess. The other thing is the battle prowess itself. Overlord battle prowess. Like the heart force, it was illusory, but it was a real existence. First, according to the requirements of the combat power policy, I'll increase my overlord battle prowess to the nebula level. Then, I'll strengthen it in a small area. Lin Feng sat cross-legged and began to practice the method taught by the combat power policy. Battle prowess was like the sword Dao. It was a kind of realm, just like the cultivation of the sword heart. Other than one's own comprehension and heart force, it relied on actual combat. What was battle? Using strength to fight, that was battle prowess. Just as well. When the time comes, I'll go to the Milky Way arena to train myself and raise my battle prowess to the level of king of the arena. Lin Feng was looking forward to seeing how powerful the Lightning Saint Soul battle prowess would be. Time passed very quickly during cultivation. Compared to the improvement of the sword heart, the improvement of the Overlord's battle prowess was much slower. On one hand, Lin Feng's talent in the sword Dao was stronger. On the other hand, he did not have his senior sister to teach him this time, so the improvement speed was naturally slower. It's about time. After more than 20 years, Lin Feng raised the Overlord's battle prowess to a level that was compatible with the Lightning Dao. At this time, his points in the Milky Way arena were more than half of the silver level. This time, there won't be a problem. Lin Feng was full of confidence. He had tried dozens of times before, but each time, he failed due to the slight difference in strength. This time, however, he was very sure. Following the method taught by the Lightning Saint, Lin Feng's heart force surged, and the invisible Overlord's battle prowess seeped out of his body. Ho! Ho! From minute to extreme, as the Overlord's battle prowess surged out, the power of lightning appeared in every part of his body. The power in every part of his body was tightly combined, and Lin Feng controlled it with great precision. The third meridian diagram slowly wriggled. The Overlord's battle prowess, together with the power of lightning, gradually condensed into a powerful force that appeared in every part of his body. Got it. Lin Feng stabilized his mind. Bit by bit, he tried according to the Lightning Saint's method. Lin Feng's mind was completely focused. This was a long process to form the soul battle prowess. After it was formed, it was equivalent to comprehending another level of the Dao, increasing one's Dao cultivation and expanding one's mental strength in the origin astral realm. Time passed slowly. Lin Feng's body was filled with the light of lightning. The invisible battle prowess merged with the lightning. Not only did it strengthen the meridians in his body, but his entire body also formed a unique domain. This was a brand new battle form. It was also a brand new Dao, the heavenly Dao. Bang! Lin Feng swung his fist fiercely, his eyes bright. His fist was like lightning streaking across the sky. There was also a shocking lightning origin power that blasted out. With his location as the area, it formed a unique domain that suppressed the opponent in close combat. So powerful, Lin Feng felt that the origin astral realm was rapidly expanding. Previously, When he fought with the humans of the Silver Martial Empire, the other party had only fused with them. They did not have a domain like the Lightning Saint. This is the Tao of space. Lin Feng was secretly shocked. Only black hole experts could comprehend the Tao of space. For example, dark matter experts could control the spatial teleportation. It was the same for domains. To control an area of space. I didn't expect that not only did I complete the first step, but I also have a domain of the second step. This time, it will be easy for me to become a king. Lin Feng revealed a satisfied smile. To be continued. Chapter 1297. With the domain, Lin Feng could be considered to have truly mastered soul combat power. The domain would release an invisible force to suppress the opponent's strength. Lin Feng was almost certain to win against opponents of the same strength. This was the power of the domain. With the domain, Lin Feng's combat power was comparable to that of a silver heart. This was also the standard of a silver core king. Next is the third level of soul combat power, the soul domain. Lin Feng thought to himself, after reaching this level, one soul consciousness could completely cover the entire domain, and everything within the domain could be controlled freely. This level was a little difficult, and one might not be able to reach the silver heart level. It requires a lot of mental power and control, but it shouldn't be difficult for me to open the third aperture. Lin Feng nodded. Once he reached the soul domain level, he would at least be able to fight against a dark matter powerhouse. In a normal battle, dark matter powerhouses could teleport unpredictably, and nebula-level warriors couldn't block them at all. However, when one reached the soul domain level, although they couldn't seal the opponent, they could sense the opponent. The soul domain could greatly enhance one's perception of the environment. However, I've just consecutively jumped 2 levels in soul combat power. I should train and consolidate it first. Adapt to the new power. Lin Feng clenched his fist, and bolts of lightning seeped through the gaps of his fingers, containing a strong overlord combat power. The point system of the Galaxy Arena was simple and straightforward. Rock level, dark iron level, bronze level, silver level, gold level, diamond level, and the strongest king level were widely used in the 7 empires as a detailed classification of levels. Although they were all silver core level, some were stronger, some were weaker, and their cultivation levels were different. However, it was clear at a glance from the battle records and levels of the Galaxy Arena. Lin Feng had already entered the diamond level in the Galaxy Arena. He had more than half of the points, obtained soul combat power, and comprehended the domain. His goal was to reach the king level. His next opponents would be the geniuses of the Dongwang Empire. To enter the top 100, the king level was a must. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Feng honed his combat power one match after another. At first, he would lose a few matches, but after that, he basically won all the matches. With the combination of soul combat power and the domain, coupled with the extreme level 9 sword technique, he was always successful. Even if he split into 2 clones and only had 50% of his combat strength, but now, he was still very strong. Last one, Lin Feng raised his saber and killed his opponent. After 17 years of training and honing his skills, Lin Feng finally made it into the king of the tournament. Looking at the huge golden number 180,586, he let out a long sigh of relief. Although there was no major competition like the 100 Holies Cup, Lin Feng had also participated in many small competitions and obtained many points. Ding! Lin Feng's melodious voice rang out beside his ears. He continued to sing and fight. There was a ranking for the king of esports, and 180586 was basically at the bottom. If he wanted to rise in the rankings, he would need to keep fighting, and his opponents here were the strongest silver core fighters of the 7 empires. Many of them were old monsters who had lived for hundreds of years. Silver core experts had a lifespan of 300 years. He lost more than he won. However, Lin Feng obtained great satisfaction from the battle of the king of esports. He was a true martial artist and was filled with a challenging heart. The stronger the opponent, the more potential he could unleash. Although fusing with Doppelganger number 2 could almost double his combat power, but Lin Feng did not do that. In the Milky Way arena, losing did not mean anything. Sometimes, losing could bring more than winning. Dozens of years passed quickly. Lin Feng continued to improve himself through the battles. His King of Esports ranking was sometimes high and sometimes low, but it maintained around 100,000 and steadily rose. The difference between the 10,000th and 18,000th was huge. In other words, Lin Feng's strength was already in the middle of the Silver Core level King of Esports. And this was only half of his strength. Lin Feng's power covered the entire domain. The 7 blue saber flashed with a dazzling light. Every part of the domain was in his heart, and the surrounding aura became extremely sensitive. Lin Feng closed his eyes and could clearly feel the flow of power. Roar! The golden dragon roared in the sky. Dozens of figures appeared around him, and dozens of swords pierced toward Lin Feng. Perfect clone. Lin Feng's opponent was a fair-skinned, skinny youth, ranked 9877 in the King of Esports. This was not the first time Lin Feng fought against a Silver Core ranked within 10,000. However, he had lost all the previous battles. A Silver Core ranker who was able to enter the top 10,000 in the Arena King rankings would not be afraid even if he encountered a Silver Heart ranker. The skinny youth's lips curled into a cold smile. In his opinion, victory was already in his hands. Suddenly, the skinny youth's eyes widened. A saber slashed down like lightning, completely ignoring all of his afterimages and clones, and came straight at him with the force of a thunderbolt. It was as if it already knew where he was. Impossible! The skinny youth's face was filled with shock. He raised his sword to block, but how could he compare to Lin Feng's powerful strength? The golden dragon carried Lin Feng's domineering aura and instantly turned the situation around. No! Boom! Lin Feng's saber was as strong as the heavens. Seizing the opportunity to turn defense into offense, he finally defeated his opponent. Lin Feng wins. The AI system's clear voice came from the Milky Way arena. Since joining the 100 Saints Martial Hall, Lin Feng's citizenship system had been re-registered, and even the Milky Way Black Network had changed. Now, Lin Feng had regained his real name. Moreover, his citizenship had been upgraded from a first-class citizen to a first-class noble. His status was quite high. Looking at his King of Esports ranking rising from 100807 to 88797, Lin Feng could not help but smile. Although the chances of losing against a strong King of Esports were high, winning a battle would increase his ranking quickly. My soul power has finally reached the 3rd level. Soul Realm. Lin Feng nodded. In the past few decades, fighting was only a small part of it. He spent most of his time cultivating saber techniques, soul power, and lightning mysteries. For a warrior, strength was always the most basic thing. Although his saber techniques did not improve, the improvement of his soul power allowed Lin Feng's combat power to soar again. Continue. Let's see what level I can reach. Lin Feng was looking forward to it. Battle after battle, Lin Feng enjoyed it. In every battle, he faced a strong opponent that he had never met before. As the King of Esports ranking rose, the opponents he faced became stronger and stronger. Lin Feng's King of Esports ranking rose steadily, from 80,000 to 50,000, then to 300,000, 20,000. He was gradually approaching the top 10,000. If I can enter the top 10,000, I'll be able to enter the top 100 of the Dongwang Genius Battle. Lin Feng was excited. In addition to winning face for his teacher and the 100 Saints Martial Hall, the top 100 would also receive a handsome reward. The higher the ranking, the better the reward. If he could enter the top 10, he would even receive an ordinary black hole mystic treasure. The top 3 would receive a powerful black hole mystic treasure. Chapter 1298. Black hole treasures were top-notch treasures in the entire Milky Way. Generally, only saints could use them. If a silver heart could unleash the power of a black hole treasure, it would be comparable to a saint. Lin Feng's 7 blue saber was a little special. It was rare to receive such a generous gift. An ordinary black hole treasure was already very generous. Crane Saint directly gave Lin Feng a powerful black hole treasure. Even Crane Saint himself only had one powerful black hole mystic treasure. It was also Lin Feng's opportunity. None of Crane Saint's disciples used sabers, and Crane Saint was very generous to his disciples, so he gave the 7 blue saber to Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng couldn't activate the 7 blue saber yet. The 7 blue saber, which hadn't unleashed its full power, was at most a top-notch Nebula-level saber. Even so, it was good enough for Lin Feng. King of Esports ranking 9733. Lin Feng looked at his ranking and nodded with satisfaction. With 100 years of preparation, he rushed into the top 10,000 of the King of Esports ranking. Although he was still a little behind, many of the top 10,000 were old monsters. There weren't many geniuses who had cultivated in this era. There were even fewer geniuses in the Dongwang Empire. If I combine with number 2 Real Dragon Avatar, my combat power can be further improved. There are still 10 years before the Dongwang Genius Battle. My combat power has reached a bottleneck. Let's try something else. Lin Feng didn't tell anyone. This time, his goal was to be in the top 10. But with his current combat power, even if his combat power was 100%, the hope of entering the top 10 was still a little slim. However, it all depended on effort. Lin Feng was in seclusion. When Lin Feng was in seclusion, there were only 10 years before the Dongwang Genius Battle. The internal selection of the 100 Saints Martial Palace began. Not every warrior had Lin Feng's privilege of being exempted from the selection. Most of the warriors, even the special class geniuses, had to participate. Whoever was stronger would fight. It was very fair. There were a total of 32 spots. Excluding the spots for Lin Feng and the other Saints' disciples, there were 28 spots left. The internal selection was also a grand event for the 100 Saints Martial Hall. Basically, all the Silver Core experts would participate. Even if they couldn't get a spot, they could at least test their strength. For example, the brothers Mo Tai and Mo Sure. Unfortunately, in the 100 Saints Martial Hall, where geniuses were as numerous as grass, Mo Tai and Mo Sure had been eliminated early on. Even the first-rate genius, Hong Ling, had stopped at the top 1,000. Apart from a small number of first-grade geniuses, the rest of the participants were all special-grade geniuses. Every one of them was ranked as the king of the competition. Many of them were even stronger than Lin Feng and the other 3 who were exempted from the test. Yu Hu, a human being, a super-grade genius, ranked 3rd among the kings of esports. Kuei Demon, a special-grade genius of the demon race, ranked 27th in the king realm. Wu Jilin, human, special-grade genius, ranked 99th in the king realm. Yu Yong, human, special-grade genius. He had joined the 100 Saints Martial Palace 6 years earlier than Lin Feng and obtained the inheritance. He was ranked 1,298th in the king of competition. There were too many. The 100 Saints Martial Palace could be said to be the export base of the experts of the Dongwang Empire. The competition for the 28 spots was definitely the highest level competition in the Dongwang Empire. However, the truly powerful special-grade geniuses were not afraid at all. Yu Hu, Kuei, and Wu Jilin were almost unstoppable. No one could match them. Those who ran into the 3 of them were unlucky. Some might have had a chance to get a spot, but now they were eliminated. Damn it! Yeong clenched his fists, blue veins popping out. My strength is ranked in the top 20 among all the participants. Why did I have to run into Yu Hu? Yeong was not convinced. If it weren't for his bad luck, he wouldn't have been eliminated at all. He really wanted to get a spot. He was confident that he could enter the top 100 in the Dongwang Genius Battle and get the reward. If he missed this opportunity, he didn't know when the next time would be. Why? The 4 of them can directly advance. I'm obviously stronger than them. It's not fair. Yu Yong's eyes were red, especially that Lin Feng, who joined the 100 Saints Martial Palace at almost the same time as him. They were both special-grade geniuses and had received the inheritance of the Upper Saints. He didn't have a saint to take him as a disciple, but Lin Feng was taken as a disciple by 2 saints. At first, Yu Yong didn't care when people compared him, because he believed that he had strength and potential. Even if Lin Feng was taken as a disciple by a saint, so what? He would use practical actions to tell everyone that he, Yu Yong, could be stronger than a saint's disciple. And he had done it. Lin Feng's ranking in the King of Competition was not at the same level as his. The last time he checked, Lin Feng was only ranked in the top 100,000. But now, he was eliminated after a hard battle, but Lin Feng could get a spot without doing anything. It's too unfair. Yu Yong gritted his teeth. Crane Saint Planet number 5. Clang! Bang! The two figures intertwined rapidly. Lin Feng was like a fierce leopard, aggressive and aggressive. The White Commander rode the wind and waves, constantly dodging and counterattacking. The man and the demon fought back and forth, and their combat power was in a stalemate. Little junior brother, you've improved a lot. A figure suddenly appeared, revealing two small dimples. It was fourth senior sister Lu Qin. Whoosh! The two figures separated in an instant. The White Commander's face was slightly pale, but he smiled. Young master has improved a lot. Even I won't be your opponent soon. You're too modest, White Commander. Lin Feng put away his saber and smiled. A scholar who has been away for 3 days looks at you in a different light. Lu Qin's big eyes looked at Lin Feng, and she smiled with satisfaction. With your current strength, I believe it won't be a problem for you to enter the top 100 of the Dongwang Genius Battle. I can go and tell Master this good news. Lin Feng nodded, but only the top 100. His current combat power had reached a bottleneck, and it would be difficult for him to break through in a short time. Don't worry, Master said that participation is important. Senior sister Lu Qin said, by the way, junior brother, have you been following the 100 Saints Martial Palace's internal network? Not recently. Lin Feng shook his head. He had just come out of seclusion not long ago. Senior sister Lu Qin nodded and said, the 100 Saints Martial Palace's internal selection competition has ended, and the 28 spots have been announced. But a few warriors who were eliminated were not satisfied, and they insinuated that you didn't have the strength and got the spot through your connections. Me? Lin Feng showed an innocent look. White Commander said, although there are 4 Saint disciples, young master, you're the last to enter, and your ranking is also the last. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. All right. Senior sister Lu Qin's beautiful eyes lit up. Stand out and teach them a lesson. Junior brother, let them be, senior sister. Lin Feng smiled and said, they're just angry words. If we're too anxious, wouldn't we hurt their feelings? Whether they're dragons or snakes, we'll see in a few days. Junior brother is magnanimous. Senior sister Lu Qin glanced at him. Lin Feng smiled. This senior sister of his was a sentimental person. While they were talking, a message suddenly appeared in his mind, and Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. Chapter 1299. The message came from the true dragon avatar on Earth. The shared soul made Lin Feng frown. He originally thought that after entering the 100 Saints Martial Hall, the matter on Earth would come to an end. But that was not the case. Earth had discovered several outer regions of the solar system with spaceships. Every spaceship came from the Black Wolf Gold Empire. From the trajectory of these spaceships, they were looking for something, until the first spaceship flew into the solar system. Although it was killed by his true dragon avatar before it found Earth, but this was already a signal. A danger signal. The true dragon avatar left on Earth was not strong. If it faced the top forces of the Black Wolf Gold Empire, it might not be a match. Lin Feng had searched the memories of the warriors in the spaceship and knew who the mastermind was. Third Prince, Sain. Last time, they had no grudges, so he did not want to cause trouble. After all, the other party had a special identity. But now, you are courting death. Lin Feng's eyes shot out a cold light. Go back home. Lu Qin and the White Commander were stunned. Junior brother, the Dongwang Genius Battle that only happens once every era will begin in 5 years. Lu Qin frowned. If we go back now, we might not be able to make it back in time. Is it urgent, young master? The White Commander said. Do you want me to go there for you? Lin Feng shook his head. I have to do this personally. Lin Feng nodded at the White Commander. I appreciate your good intentions, but please help me pick out 3 guards who are familiar with the control of spaceships. I will be leaving immediately. Yes, young master. The White Commander said. Lin Feng looked at Lu Qin apologetically. I am sorry, senior sister. I have to go back. But I promise you that I will try my best to come back and participate in the Dongwang Genius Battle. Lu Qin pursed her lips and revealed two small dimples. All right, that is the only way. Go early and come back early. All right. Lu Qin paused and raised her eyebrows. Did you encounter some trouble? Do you need my help? No need, senior sister. Lin Feng smiled. Warmth flowed through his heart. Very soon, the White Commander brought 3 guards over. Young Lord, 2 human experts, Wu Shun and Limu Bai, and a demon expert, Bai Hao, greeted respectfully. Bai Qi is the best at controlling the spaceship out of all the guards. The White Commander said, among the 14 guards, Wu Shun is the strongest. Li Mubai's comprehensive ability is not bad. He can do everything. The 3 of them will follow the young master. Lin Feng nodded. He looked at Li Mubai. From the previous journey, he had an impression that Li Mubai was a martial artist who knew how to do things. Handing a storage ring to Li Mubai, Lin Feng said, help me plan the route to the Black Wolf Gold Empire. It has to be fast, the shortest and fastest route, no matter the cost, understand? Yes, young master. Li Mubai accepted the order and left. White Lion, check the 100 Saints number 7. Wu Shun, prepare some supplies. Yes, young master. The 3 guards immediately busied themselves with making arrangements. Lin Feng looked at the White Commander and asked, all right, White Commander, did you ever come back after breaking the calamity? The White Commander shook his head and said, no. Lin Feng nodded. Junior brotherly Poji had followed him to the Crane Saint Planet number 5 and cultivated together for a period of time. He left when his strength reached the peak of the silver plate level. This was because the 100 Saints Martial Palace had evaluated him as a first-class genius. It seems that Junior Brother has not broken through to the silver core level. Lin Feng thought. He knew that Junior Brotherly Poji wanted to prove that he was also a special-class genius. That was why he left. The blood of Huaxia's pride flowed in his bones. He did not force it. With Junior Brother's talent, it was only a matter of time before he became a special-class genius. Let's go. Lin Feng and the other 3 left quickly. Lin Feng was also prepared to return to Earth. After all, he did not lack anything after joining the 100 Saints Martial Palace. He had long had the ability to repair Earth, but he had originally planned to return after the Dongwang Genius Battle. It did not matter if he returned earlier. Even if he could not make it in time for the Dongwang Genius Battle, Lin Feng did not care. Compared to this, the safety of Earth was much more important. Under Li Mubai's lead, Lin Feng and the other 3 teleported to the Black Wolf Gold Empire. The White Commander and the others had also used this method to arrive in just 2 years. A single teleportation covered a distance of almost 1 light year. This speed was beyond the reach of the top spaceship. Lin Feng had spent a total of 15 years to arrive at the 100 Saints Martial Palace from Earth. Shua, shua, shua. Lin Feng did not care about squandering a large amount of cosmos crystals. His need for cosmos crystals was now very low. Other warriors spent a lot of their money on various energy crystals to satisfy the needs of the Origin Star Realm. However, Lin Feng had cosmos crystals. With sufficient cosmos crystals, not only did he save a lot of time, but he also saved a lot of money. Whoosh! 100 Saints number 7 moved quickly. Reaching the border of the Dongwang Empire, the rest of the journey required a spaceship. With the speed of 100 Saints number 7, they would arrive at the Black Wolf Gold Empire in about 2 years. Third Prince Ayin, you better not do anything stupid. Lin Feng's eyes were cold. Otherwise, I will bury your entire Black Wolf Gold Empire. Black Wolf Gold Empire. Found it. Sa Yin's eyes lit up as he slammed his palm on the head of the golden chair. Over the past 100 years, he had exhausted all means to continuously narrow down the area. In the end, after searching inch by inch, he had finally obtained a piece of good news. Sa-in laughed heartily and was ecstatic. Yes, Third Prince, Dead Wolf reported. A spaceship found a star system, but it was destroyed. One could imagine how powerful it was to destroy a spaceship. The rest of the spaceships are heading in that direction. It will take at most 5 years to find the exact location of a star system. The universe was very big. Even if the area was determined, it was still very difficult to find that point in the vast universe. After all, the speed of spaceships was limited. They could only reach the speed of light in the original universe. Very good. Sain nodded heavily. Big brother, second brother, just you wait. You two are not the only ones fighting for the throne. I, Sain, am also fighting for it. When I find Lin Feng's hometown, with the 100 Saints Hall as my backer, let's see who will have the last laugh. Ha ha ha! Sa Yin's hands turned into claws as he laughed with his head held high. He was the third prince. Although he was born late and was not as talented as his brothers, he never thought of admitting defeat. Indeed, Sa Yin knew that this was a dangerous matter, but he had to take the gamble. If he lost, he would die, but if he was lucky enough to win this battle, he would become the ruler of the Black Wolf Gold Empire. No one can stop me. The third Prince Sa-in was full of ambition. His eyes were bloodshot and twisted. Chapter 1300. Crane Saint Planet. Master. Lu Qin bowed. You're here. Crane Saint appeared. Often came to say goodbye to me before he left. A teacher for a day, a teacher for life. Moreover, Crane Saint was the one who recommended the Dong Wang Genius Tournament. Lin Feng had to tell him in person to show his sincerity. Master, you don't want him to stay? Lu Qin was puzzled. Crane Saint said, your fifth brother is younger than you, but he is mature and generous. He knows how to prioritize. If he didn't have something to do, he wouldn't have hurried back. Lu Qin pouted. She rolled her eyes and showed her dimples. Oh, you're still acting like a child. Crane Saint chided with a smile. Master, you said that it's good for cultivation to maintain childlike innocence. Lu Qin pouted. Crane Saint was speechless. By the way, Master, have you seen the heated discussion on the 100 Saints Martial Palace's internal network? Lu Qin suddenly asked. Jiao Wu told me. Crane Saint said. Jiao Wu Saint was Crane Saint's first disciple. Don't worry about such gossip. Crane Saint said. He can't even get 28 places. Even if he enters the Dong Wang Genius Tournament, his achievements will be limited. That Yu Yong is too annoying, Lu Qin said unhappily. He really thinks too highly of himself. Crane Saint said, my disciple Offing is not as good as him now, but their potential is not at the same level. Of course. Lu Qin raised her head proudly. When Yu Yong joined the 100 Saints Martial Palace, he had already cultivated for 2,000 years. Junior brother has only cultivated for 68 years. How can he compare with junior brother? Crane Saint was stunned. What did you say? 68 years? Crane Saint looked at Lu Qin in shock. Master, you don't know? Lu Qin said in surprise. Crane Saint shook his head. He was really shocked. An expert who cultivated to the silver core level in 68 years? I thought you took junior brother as your disciple because of his fast cultivation speed, Lu Qin said in surprise. No, Offeng's strongest point is his battle prowess. He has an extremely sharp battle sense, and is also a dual cultivator. Crane Saint let out a light breath and sighed. 68 years. It seems that I have underestimated my little disciple. Crane Saint revealed a satisfied smile. As a teacher, he naturally hoped that his disciple would be as powerful as possible. What's Offing's King of Arena ranking now? Crane Saint asked. 9733, teacher, Lu Qin reported. Crane Saint was slightly astonished. Entered the top 10,000. Lu Qin nodded, showing 2 dimples. Junior fellow apprentice, your sabersmanship is excellent. You are now at the limit of the 9th level. What's more, you are cultivating the soul combat power of the Lightning Saint. Entering the top 100 of the Dong Wang Genius Battle is not a problem. But that's only the top 100. Crane Saint said, to enter the top 10, you need at least the strength of the top 1,000. Lu Qin blinked her eyes. Why don't you help junior brother? Crane Saint rolled her eyes at Lu Qin. The latter stuck out her tongue playfully and said, I'm just thinking for teacher. These are just false reputations. Crane Saint said, "The reason why I allowed Offing to participate is mainly to let him temper himself. It doesn't matter what ranking he gets. Moreover, even if I help him, so what if he enters the top 10? The rare genius of the Fairy Luo Palace, Qin Qing, has already announced her participation, together with you, who from our martial arts hall, and Prince Yushu from the Dongwang Empire. The top 3 rankings are basically set." Lu Qin's beautiful eyes widened. "Qin Qing, who is said to be more beautiful than me?" Crane Saint's eyebrows twitched, as if to say, "There are many more beautiful than you." Although Qin Qing, is not in the King of Arena ranking, she once defeated a saint and shocked the entire Dongwang Empire. I believe that her strength is a level higher than the others. Yu is ranked 3rd in the King of Arena ranking, but he is still no match for Qin Qing. Lu Qin asked. Crane Saint shook his head. Her combat power has been recognized as almost comparable to a lower saint. Lu Qin opened her mouth exaggeratedly, showing her dimples. A silver core master whose combat power was comparable to a lower saint. In 100 Saints number 7, Lin Feng was practicing hard. Except for number 1 True Dragon Avatar, which only occupied 10% of his soul, which was still practicing the True Dragon Cultivation Mantra. Number 2 True Dragon Avatar had merged with his body. Firstly, Lin Feng was only a silver core master, and he had to go all out to ensure his safety. Secondly, in the remaining 5 years, Lin Feng hoped to break through the bottleneck with all his might. Even if my current combat power is 100%, the King of Arena ranking is at most between 3,000 and 5,000. If I want to enter the top 10 and get the Black Hole Mystic Treasure, I have to at least be in the top 1,000. Only by being in the top 1,000 could he have a chance to compete. Lin Feng knew very well that in the 100 Saints Martial Arts Hall alone, there were as many as 15 King of Arena ranking in the top 1,000. Although luck played a part in the Dongwang Genius Battle, the key was strength. I'm afraid I have to become a Black Hole Master to activate the 7 Blue Saber. It will take a long time for my Saber Heart to reach the 10th level from the limit of the 9th level. I've also cultivated the golden body of True Dragon to the peak. Lin Feng's cultivation of combat power was mainly focused on close combat and the Soul of Earth. After all, even if he did not cultivate his combat power, he could steadily improve his talent soul. However, the Soul of Earth was different. If I want to improve my strength in just 5 years, there are 3 possibilities. What Lin Feng needed to do now was to improve his combat power as much as possible. A new saber technique that incorporates the profound meaning of lightning. It can further enhance the power of my soul combat power. The Way of Dark Demon. If I can reach the 6th level of the Way of Dark Demon, the Hating Heaven form will be more powerful. Combined with the golden body of True Dragon, my body will be strengthened even more. Among Lin Feng's Great Tao of Thunder, the Great Tao of Lightning, the Great Tao of Cloud Thunder, and the Great Tao of Thunder were all at the 6th level. However, he did not really comprehend them. He had to rely on the inheritance. If he really wanted to comprehend the 6th level with his own cultivation, it was difficult. The clone of True Dragon number 2 had been improving its light and dark cultivation. However, it was a long road from the 5th level to the 6th level. Also, the cultivation of the secret techniques. I have the essence of True Dragon, Teacher's Inheritance, the True Dragon Saint Power of the Great Realm Sea, and the strongest heart force to support my soul combat power in battle. Although my explosive power might not be strong, if I enter a stalemate, I will have the advantage. This way, I can better utilize the strength of dual cultivation. Lin Feng had already made up his mind. If he did not cultivate his teacher's secret techniques, wouldn't it be a waste? Although his teacher's secret techniques were few, each one was a treasure. For example, Dragon Concealment, True Dragon Clone, Tai Chi True Dragon Great Illusion, etc. What he needed now was the most suitable one. This is it. Every word of the True Dragon Great Illusion appeared in Lin Feng's mind. Previously, he did not cultivate it because he did not have enough time. However, Now that he had 5 years and his heart force was strong, he could better utilize the power of the true dragon great illusion. In 5 years, I can cultivate it to the intermediate stage. Lin Feng nodded secretly. Illusions could often be used to defeat those stronger than them. They could deal with some strong but weak wills. Chapter 1301. The foundation of illusions lies in the heart. The realm is the foundation. The illusions originate from the cultivator. The power of the true dragon great illusion depends on the cultivator's heart. Lin Feng closed his eyes and started to cultivate. The cultivation of the true dragon great illusion was divided into 2 steps. The first was the formation of the realm, and the second was the control of the illusions. Teacher's illusions are different. Lin Feng clicked his tongue inwardly. Other illusions were usually a single entity, driven by realm energy. The strength of the realm energy directly determined the power of the illusion. But his teacher's true dragon great illusion was different. If the heart controls it, the illusion will form. If I want to trap others, I have to be above the illusion first. Lin Feng's hands moved as he used a secret technique to construct the foundation of the illusion, just like a formation. The golden true dragon in his chest bared its fangs and brandished its claws, looking ferocious, while Lin Feng entered his own illusory world. In front of him was a land of illusions. His consciousness was hazy, and the illusions around him changed. It was as if he had arrived at the peak of the other world. Lin Feng slowly walked forward. With one step, he broke through the illusion. The initial stage of the true dragon great illusion can only trap enemies. Lin Feng opened his eyes. His hands flashed with the light of realm energy and then condensed again. The initial stage of the true dragon great illusion was basically useless against silver core experts. In order to unleash its power, he had to train it to the intermediate stage. Intermediate stage, that there's enough time. So, 100 Saints, 7 rapidly advanced in the dark matter space. Lin Feng, who was cultivating, spent less than 10 days to complete the initial stage of the true dragon great illusion. The main reason was that the construction of the realm was difficult. As for the illusions aspect, it was easy. 3 months later. Success. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with joy. He succeeded in one try. The intermediate stage of the true dragon great illusion had the ability to create illusions. Only then could it truly be called an illusion. Only 3 months had passed. It's much faster than I expected. Lin Feng had originally planned to complete the intermediate stage in 2 years. But now, he had exceeded his expectations. It should be the improvement of my heart force over the past 100 years. That's why my cultivation speed is much faster. True Dragon Cultivation Heart Sutra. Lin Feng's aptitude for heart force was quite good to begin with, and over the past century, his first True Dragon clone had been cultivating non-stop, making repeated breakthroughs. From the Heaven Realm Azure Dragon 7 cycles to the Saint Realm Purple Dragon first cycle, second cycle, third cycle, his current heart force cultivation had already reached the 6th revolution of the Violet Dragon Realm. He was at the peak of the immortal chaos hole. You can try to cultivate the True Dragon's great illusion to an advanced level. Lin Feng continued to cultivate. Once the True Dragon great illusion entered the high level, it would be able to coordinate with the realm force to attack. Martial artists who had fallen into the True Dragon's great illusionary realm might be able to tell that this was an illusion. But he would never have thought that the attack in the illusion was real. Black Wolf Gold Empire, the center of the empire. This was the center of 16 million star systems, where the royal authority of the Black Wolf Gold Empire was located. A huge black wolf head hung above the protective shield, and magnificent halls were located in every part of the empire. Every floor of the Golden Wolf Hall was made of precious and rare rhenium gold, and there were many statues of space beasts that were made into stone. They were lifelike, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. The man sitting at the top wore a crown and a dragon robe. His face was a little pale, but his eyes were still sharp. He was the king of the Black Wolf Gold Empire, Sadan. Although he was old and weak, his aura was still intimidating. The head of the Wind Fiend He family, He Yisheng, the head of the Lei Yuang family, Wang Jingyao, the head of the giant spirit Kuang family, Kuang Batian. The sect masters, grand elders, and general managers of the various sects were all present. With King Sa Dan as the center, they were discussing national affairs. On both sides of the hall stood silver core guards. They had their heads held high, and their auras were concealed. Those who were able to enter the Golden Wolf Hall were all top figures of the Black Wolf Gold Empire. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the people who were discussing national affairs, and their expressions changed. "What's the matter?" King Sa Dan frowned. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what was going on. Soon, a Wolf Clan expert came in with a panicked expression. "Not good, King. The Golden Wolf Star's protective shield was broken." The protective shield was broken? There was an uproar. Who dared to mess with the lion's heart and leopard's guts? It's the White Flag Empire. The head of the giant spirit Kuang family, Kuang Batian, stood up abruptly, his eyes wide open. "Impossible." The head of the Lei Yuang family, Wang Jingyao, said. "It's impossible for them to come here silently, and it's even more impossible for them to break through the Golden Wolf Star's defensive system." The Golden Wolf Star's defensive system was a super defensive system built with X-grade energy. Even a silver core expert couldn't break through it. Dang, dang, dang. The Golden Wolf Star sounded the alarm, and all the Wolf Clan experts gathered. Silver core experts appeared at the teleportation points one by one. King Sa Dan walked out of the Golden Wolf Hall accompanied by the experts. The entire Golden Wolf Star fell into a crisis. This was the first time since the establishment of the Black Wolf Gold Empire. Heroes gathered densely packed. Many atomic cannons, laser beams, and countless spaceships gathered in the sky above the Golden Wolf Star. King Sa Dan walked to an open space under the crowd. He raised his head and frowned. It was a super heavyweight spaceship. The pitch-black metallic light was as ferocious as a prehistoric giant beast. It covered the entire sky and was stronger than dozens of space beasts. It was only one spaceship, but its aura was stronger than the Black Wolf Gold Empire. 100 St. Marshall Palace. Sa Dan had a high status and experience. Seeing the symbol on the spaceship, Sa Dan was confused. He didn't understand why the 100 St. Marshall Palace's spaceship would come here, and why. Did they come here? Whop, beams of light shot down, and a purple disk slowly sank down. The experts of the Black Wolf Gold Empire held their breaths and stared at the purple disk without blinking. They were nervous and uneasy. Many sharp-eyed experts recognized the symbol of the 100 St. Marshall Palace, like King Sa Dan. They weren't afraid of the White Flag Empire. At most, they would fight and see whose fist was bigger and whose life was tougher. But that was the 100 St. Marshall Palace. Exterminating them would be as easy as stepping on an ant. He is Wang Jingyao, the clan leader of the Wang family, widened his eyes when he saw the three figures that appeared on the purple round plate. He was extremely familiar with one of them, and he knew that his son, Wang Yun, had a close relationship with that person. Also, 100 years ago, something big happened. The young man who broke into the Han clan alone and killed the head of the Han clan, Han Zhanpeng, was taken away by the 100 St. Marshall Palace after being surrounded by the Wolf Clan. Now he was back. Lin Feng. Wang Jingyao's chest rose and fell rapidly as he blurted out. Chapter 1302. Lin Feng. Everyone turned to look at Wang Jingyao in confusion. A few of them who reacted quickly realized what was going on and were shocked. The incident 100 years ago had caused a commotion, and all the major clans and sects paid attention to it. However, after Lin Feng left and the decline of the Wild Wolf Han family, it gradually calmed down. It was Lin Feng and his group. Surrounded by enemies, Lin Feng remained unfazed, his expression calm. He knew that the Black Wolf Gene Empire would not dare to attack. No matter how bold they would not dare to attack the people of the 100 Saints Marshall Hall. Furthermore, Lin Feng did not care if they really attacked. I didn't know that the three lords of the 100 Saints Marshall Hall would be here. Sorry for not going out to meet you. King Sa Dan was very experienced. A smile appeared on his pale face as he went up to greet them with his ministers. Bang! It was a cold-looking warrior holding a battle axe. The extremely cold battle axe energy landed and forcefully drew a trench on the ground. The energy was emitted and the energy was cold. The strongest warrior of the 14 guards, Wu Shan, did not speak, but used his actions to tell everyone to listen. Stop talking nonsense. King Sa, Li Mu Bai, who was dressed formally, smiled and walked forward. However, he was much more tactful than Wu Shan. This is our young lord, the disciple of the Crane Saint. He is a unique genius, Lord Lin Feng. Zhonglong Zhongfeng, Wen Wen Boom. There was a sudden clap of thunder. Some warriors did not know what was going on, but how could the sect masters, patriarchs, and King Sa Dan, who stood at the peak of power, not know? Disciple of a saint? King Sa Dan swallowed his saliva and smiled. Lord Lin has an imposing appearance. I can tell that you are a dragon among men. Your presence brings light to the golden wolf star. King Sa, there is no need to be so polite. Let's get straight to the point. Lin Feng finally spoke. A glint flashed across his eyes, and a faint domain pressure covered the entire area, causing the expressions of Sa Dan and the others to change. They were all at the silver core level, but the difference in strength was like heaven and earth. Hand over the third prince, Sa In. Lin Feng's voice landed directly in every martial artist's heart. King Sa Dan's expression changed as he frowned. The faces of the various clan heads and sect masters turned ashen. This feeling was as if someone had stepped on their faces, causing them to feel suffocated. Don't go too far. One of the white-bearded old men fumed with rage as he walked out. But in a flash, Lin Feng's cold gaze swept over. The white-bearded old man looked as if he had seen a ghost. His pupils dilated and blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. With a bang, he fell to the ground. His eyes were wide open, and he didn't know what had happened until he died. There was a deathly silence. Elder, Grand Elder, the expressions of the 3 silver core experts changed, and they became furious. At this time, a precise and cold axe light cut through the void, as if chopping a tree. Chi! A single swing of the axe had killed 3 people. Wu Shun's expression was ice-cold as he resisted the axe. The drop of blood on his face was terrifying. The few clan heads were so angry their bodies were trembling. Being humiliated like this, they had no face left. However, they didn't dare say anything. At this time, Li Mubai smiled coldly and raised his right hand. In an instant, the huge object in the void began to move. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A shocking attack erupted. Like a prehistoric beast spitting fire, 100 Saints 7 attacked. In an instant, it swallowed all the surrounding universe ships, leaving nothing behind. Bai Qi, within 100 Saints 7. King Sa. Actually, our young master doesn't wish to use force. Li Mubai smiled. From start to finish, King Sa Dan's expression was dark and solemn. As a king, he knew what it meant to look at the big picture, and even more clearly what the situation was. It was obvious that the third prince, Sa In, had offended someone he shouldn't have. Sa Dan sighed. He hated it. However, what could he do? This was reality. Even if he was the king, he couldn't do as he pleased. If he insisted on protecting Sa In today, he was sure that the entire Gold Wolf Star would be leveled, including himself. This human youth was too terrifying. Not only did he have a terrifying background, but his strength was also unfathomable. That pair of cold eyes glanced over. Even the Hunyuan sect's great elder, a silver core warrior, couldn't even make a sound before his soul dissipated. Make your decision, king, Lin Feng said. He didn't know where the third Prince Sa In was. The Black Wolf Gold Empire was huge, and it was hard to find one person. However, many things didn't need to be so troublesome. If he couldn't find a small one, he could just find a big one. At least for now, King Sa Dan was still the biggest one in the Black Wolf Gold Empire. Lin Feng never believed in kindness, because his benevolence could very well cause the people on Earth to be plunged into misery and suffering. Men, capture the third prince for me. King Sa Dan gritted his teeth and said heavily. No need. Lin Feng interrupted. His gaze swept across the crowd and landed on King Sa-Dan. King, please take me there. In Palace. This was the residence of the third prince, Sa-In. Silver plate warriors were heavily guarded. At this moment, Sa-In was busy. His eyes were shining with ambition. After searching for 100 years, he finally found Lin Feng's hometown. Right now, he was sending his subordinates to attack. Everyone move out. Don't waste my time. No matter what method you use, occupy this galaxy. Move as fast as you can. Sa-Yin's eyes almost popped out of their sockets as he roared crazily. He was betting everything on this battle. If he didn't succeed, he would die trying. He knew that this matter would reach Lin Feng's ears sooner or later, so he couldn't care too much. He could only negotiate with Lin Feng if he had the chips in his hands. So what if some people died? A general success is built on thousands of bones. I, Sa-In, am destined to be the king of the Black Wolf Gold Empire. Sa-Yin's ambition was revealed. At this moment, there was a commotion outside. Sa-In frowned and shouted angrily, "Men, what's going on?" There was no sound. "Bastard! Where did he go?" Sa-In stood up and roared. At this moment, bang! The golden door was shattered and a figure slowly appeared. Looking at the person who came, Sa-In opened his mouth wide in shock. His eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. He staggered and knocked into the table and chair behind him. No, impossible. Sa-Yin's hands moved wildly. Lin Feng looked straight at Sa-In. In the past, he wasn't worth mentioning in front of Sa-In, but now, even if he was in the center of the empire, even if he had the entire Black Wolf Gold Empire protecting him, it was useless. "You're too greedy," Lin Feng said. "If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. You and I have no grudges," but Lin Feng shook his head. There was no longer any room for reconciliation between him and Sa-In. This was an ingrate. "I'm sorry, Sir Lin. It's my fault, my fault." Sa-In knelt down and cried bitterly. "Please give me another chance. I will definitely not." Bang! Lin Feng raised his hand and killed Sa-In. "It's too late." Without any expression, Lin Feng glanced at Sa-Yin's shocked and unwilling face and turned to leave. Chapter 1303. With the death of the third prince, Sa-In, his faction was without a leader. "This is my son, Salo," King Sa-Dan introduced to Lin Feng. "Luo, this is the one I mentioned to you before." "Father, I've long heard of Sir Lin's name. 100 years ago, he barged into the wild wolf Han family alone. What a heroic figure he is. It's just that I've never had the chance to meet him. It's truly a pity." The first prince, Salo, spoke with a smile on his face. Salo bowed slightly to Lin Feng and said, "As the eldest brother, I sincerely apologize on behalf of my third brother. I hope Lord Lin can forgive me." Lin Feng's gaze fell on Salo. The 9 sons of the dragon were all different. Sa-In was ambitious, but Salo was very sly. "King Sa." Lin Feng looked at King Sa-Dan. "Lord Lin." King Sa-Dan nodded slightly. Lin Feng said, "From today onwards, with the solar system as the center, I want 10,000 stellar territories." King Sa-Dan's eyes lit up when he heard that. He looked at the eldest prince, Salo. After the shock, the latter was also overjoyed. He bowed and said, "Thank you, Lord Lin. What are you waiting for?" King Sa-Dan shouted, afraid that Lin Feng would go back on his word. "Yes, royal father." Salo hurriedly left. It was no wonder that the two of them were so excited. Lin Feng's action was equivalent to admitting that he was a part of the Black Wolf Gene Empire. Although he didn't officially state it, having such an important person living in the Black Wolf Gene Empire was like a giant pillar that supported the heavens. It made the Black Wolf Gene Empire even more stable. Lin Feng nodded. "Then I'll have to trouble you, King." Without saying anything else, Lin Feng left, sighing in his heart. The imperial level was indeed cold. Lin Feng didn't stay in the center of the Black Wolf Gene Empire. After killing the third prince, he headed to the solar system and returned to Earth. Although the spaceship sent by the third prince had been recalled by the eldest prince, he still had to go back and take a look just in case. "Sir, you don't have to do Sa-Dan a favor," Lin Mubai said. "Without the lips, the teeth will feel cold," Lin Feng said. "If the Black Wolf Gold Empire is in trouble, the solar system will also be affected. Moreover, Joining the Black Wolf Gold Empire would bring more benefits than disadvantages to Earth. Not only could they broaden their horizons, but they could also come into contact with the Milky Way, introduce the advanced technology of the Black Wolf Gold Empire, and accelerate the development of China on Earth. Furthermore, with his deterrence, neither King Saldan nor Crown Prince Salo dared to slight the Huaxiao lineage. It was time for the Huaxiao lineage to become independent. There's no need for an epic. On Earth, the footprint of the solar system can cover the entire Huaxia territory. Lin Feng's eyes shone. It was foreseeable that China's position in the Black Wolf Gold Empire would be extremely important in the future. With 100 Saints 7 speed, it would only take a few days to reach Earth. After setting up the shadow of war again, Lin Feng came back fully prepared this time. Seeing that the solar system was once again shrouded in clouds and turbulence, Lin Feng nodded with satisfaction. The shadow of war only served as a hindrance. If he really wanted to enter a space reset seed, it would be enough. But the space reset seed was expensive, and not everyone could afford it. With the shadow of war, at least 99% of the treasure-seeking and spaceships could be stopped. As for the remaining 1%, if the enemy came prepared, no defense would be able to stop them. When the Huaxiao lineage on Earth develops in the future, the Huaxia territory will become more and more prosperous, Lin Feng thought. As for the safety of the Huaxia territory, he didn't need to worry about it. If anything happened to the Huaxia territory, they would have to fight. Even King Saldan's face. You'll be in charge of the construction of the space teleportation array, Lin Feng said to Professor Jean. Master, don't worry. Professor Jean was extremely respectful to Lin Feng, and it wasn't just because of the soul contract. Now, Lin Feng could easily destroy the Golden Dragon race and dominate the Black Wolf Gene Empire. These were things that Professor Jean didn't even dare to think about before. When he was first recruited by Lin Feng, he was still a bit unconvinced, but now he was proud of it. The leader of the Jinlong race? Professor Jean didn't even care about it now. Even the 10 families of the Black Wolf Gene Empire were respectful to him. There was no reason, just because he was Lord Lin's man. Lin Feng's name was very famous at the top of the pyramid of the Black Wolf Gene Empire. Once the Huaxia territory was established, the 10 families of the Lei Yuang family, the Wind Demon He family, the Giant Spirit Kuang family, and other sects all came to congratulate him and sent expensive gifts. Professor Jean was naturally sent by Lin Feng to receive them. After all, he was the only one who had dealt with the Black Wolf Gene Empire. Even the Grand Prince Salo came in person. Lord Lin, I'll leave these 10,000 troops to you. Salo smiled and said, This is Blue Wolf Shaoli, a Silver Corps elite. Lord Lin should be familiar with him. In the future, Lord Lin can give the patrols of the Huaxia territory to him. Greetings, Lord Lin. Led by Blue Wolf Shaoli, the first troop of the wolf race, knelt down on one knee. Lin Feng glanced at them. He recognized them. He had seen Mad Wolf Shao Li 100 years ago at the Han family. He had a good impression of Blue Wolf Shao Li. He was mature and not greedy. He was a talent that could be trusted. Rise. Lin Feng threw a Huaxia token to Blue Wolf Shao Li. In the future, you'll be responsible for the safety of the Huaxia territory. Yes, Lord Lin, Blue Wolf Shao Li said respectfully. Blue Wolf Shao Li deeply admired Master Lin. Grand Prince Salo smiled and said, Lord Lin, if there's anything else that you need help with, such as the construction of the Huaxia territory, the migration of people, defense facilities, technology, and so on, I'll do my best to help. I'll trouble you then. Lin Feng nodded. He didn't dislike Grand Prince Salo. This kind of person knew how to adapt to the situation. Maybe he was a fence-sitter who put benefits first. But this kind of person, as long as you had enough power, he was actually very considerate. Repairing Earth. Although it was Lin Feng's first time repairing Earth, the process wasn't complicated. There were many tutorials on repairing planets in the True Dragon Black network. There wasn't much technical content. First, he had to scan the planet, analyze its composition, prepare the materials, and then use the planet to repair the large superbrain machine. Everything was controlled and calculated by the large superbrain machine. There was only one word to describe it: money. Lin Feng bought the best scanner from the 100 Saints Martial Palace, the fastest and most accurate superbrain repair machine, and all the materials needed to repair planets. Just the price alone was enough to buy tens of thousands of planets with life. And that didn't include the fruit of life. The rare fruit of life was the true key to repairing planets. An ordinary one-star fruit of life cost 10,000 universe crystals, and its effect was only 10% of that of a normal one-star life planet. One-star fruit of life could still be bought, but 2-star and 3-star fruits of life were almost extinct. As for 4 stars and above, there was a price but no supply. Chapter 1304. The fruit of life Lin Feng took out contained extremely strong energy. It was a 5-star fruit of life that he had borrowed from his teacher. Its value was comparable to an ordinary chaotic whole dark treasure. A 5-star fruit of life could build a 5-star planet, which was a cradle that could give birth to a nebula-level overlord. Of course, it was expensive. It was basically impossible to find it in the Milky Way. His teacher had obtained it in the Eternal World's secret realm, which was the only place where such a treasure could be found. The restoration of Earth was progressing steadily. Sizzle, sizzle, the cracks in the earth gradually closed, and the violent sky also returned to calm. The blue sky and the ocean regained their former colors. The spirit chi in the air was overflowing and constantly strengthened. At this moment, all the martial artists on Earth were stunned. Everything that had happened in the past 100 years had changed in an instant. Many people couldn't adapt to it. After all, many people on Earth hadn't experienced the war era. It was now the 130th year of Huaxia. Oh my God, such pure spirit chi. I've broken through. My strength has broken through. How can this be? Earth has evolved. Oh my God, is this a sign before the end of the world? Hurry up and cultivate. Maybe it's a great opportunity. The martial artists on Earth were surprised and shocked. Those who had experienced the war era with Lin Feng, such as the Justice Marshal, Dean Wenma, Huang Tian, Yi Fan, and the Little Witch Doctor, all looked at the sky quietly and blankly. They hadn't seen the blue sky for a long time. The violent magnetic field on Earth disappeared like a bad-tempered star beast that had suddenly become docile. Bathed in the amazing spirit chi, many martial artists who had experienced the war era shed tears. Tears of happiness. They could see the light again. Although the restoration effect of the 5-star fruit of life was only 10% of that of a real 5-star planet, it was already commendable. There were only a few 5-star planets in the entire Black Wolf Gold Empire and the Milky Way. Of course, it referred to the planets that still had 5-star life. The super black hole in the Milky Way had entered its decline period. The planets born in the Milky Way had long lost their vitality. Most of them were 1-star and 2-star. High-star life planets couldn't maintain their original energy state, such as Earth and Nemo. In the future, Huaxia humans will be supplemented with a complete cultivation system. Absorb spirit chi from the womb and cultivate from a young age. When you reach adulthood, you can become a top-tier stellar stage being. With some effort, you can become a cosmic system state being. Even without me, the Huaxia lineage will become the pillar of the Black Wolf Gold Empire in less than 10 years. A tribe could only rely on one martial artist to prosper for a period of time. However, only when the entire race blossomed and experts emerged in large numbers could they truly continue to develop and become a powerful race. The Huaxia people were currently developing in this direction. Lin Feng was also very busy helping to build up the Huaxia territory. Fortunately, the first Hainesalo was very sensible and helped out a lot. As the space stations were built one after another, the Chinese territory was in good order and the migration operation was carried out smoothly. Lin Feng did not want to migrate to other planets. He would rather develop slowly and preserve the Chinese bloodline. It was very important to maintain the integrity of the bloodline. Moreover, the Huaxia bloodline was very powerful. Lin Feng was well aware of this. It was once a 9-star life planet. Although the Huaxia martial artists had declined, there were 9-star life force seeds hidden in their bodies. One day, they might germinate and grow. His son and daughter had both grown up. The true dragon avatar was a part of Lin Feng himself. Seeing Lin Xining and Lin Nemo grow up, get married, and have children, Lin Feng was filled with emotions. His daughter Xining's cultivation talent was not high. In 100 years, she had only broken through to the cosmic system state by luck. She was not as good as Ling and Shi Manzi, but this was not a big deal. Following her mother, Lin Xining was now in charge of the Elemental Commerce Alliance and developing the side outside of martial arts. His son Lin Nemo's talent was considered good, and Lin Feng had been doing his best to nurture him. However, he did not have the true dragon holy power and walked the path of a martial artist. Although he worked hard, he was still pampered and did not have a strong temperament. How far he could go in the future depended on his own fortune. His younger sister, Lin Yu, married his disciple, Xiao Yu, and gave birth to a pair of twins, a boy and a girl. His son, Lin Kuang, married at a young age and gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. Now, the Lin family was flourishing. They had an important position in the entire Huaxia system. Only his big brother Lin Zhan was still unmarried and had been nagged by his mother many times. Lin Feng knew that his big brother was focused on martial arts and was not interested in anything else. After receiving the Zeus Temple's inheritance, his big brother's strength increased by a lot and steadily increased. In the future, he would also have a chance to break through the black hole. Everyone had their own choice. As for his teacher, the true dragon sovereign's bloodline, he had taken in close to 100 disciples in 100 years. More and more martial artists had awakened the true dragon holy power. Zhuai had also increased the difficulty of the test. Even so, there were a total of 33 official disciples under his teacher. More than half of them were cosmic system states. As long as they passed the 3 tribulations and 3 lives path, they would be able to receive their master's gift and travel the universe. Junior brother Xiang Yu, who was the strongest among them, did not leave and entered the Milky Way. According to him, there was no need to give up what was near and seek what was far away. Back then, 8th brother had also cultivated to the black hole level in the Jinlong Black Domain. He had the same plan. Whether it was the Milky Way or the true Dragon Black Zone, it was just a transition. Only when one reached the black hole level and entered the boundless universe could he be called a true master. A year passed quickly. There were still 2 years before the Dongwang Genius Battle, and the Huaxia territory was almost on the right track. In the cultivation room, Lin Feng slowly opened his eyes with a joyful expression. He did not waste his time on Earth. I can finally use the advanced stage of the True Dragon Great Illusion successfully. Lin Feng nodded with satisfaction. When the True Dragon Great Illusion was cultivated to the advanced stage, not only did it have illusions, but could also cooperate with the True Dragon Essence and the power of the Realm Sea to initiate attacks. It had truly entered the perfect stage. To cultivate to the Great Success stage, I need to open the 4th aperture. To complete it, the Realm Sea needs to transform into the Realm Ocean. The rest could not be completed at the moment. Even so, the current True Dragon Great Illusion was enough for Lin Feng. With my current strength, I can definitely enter the top 100 of the Dongwang Genius Battle, but I have less than a 10% chance of entering the top 10. Lin Feng stood up and slowly walked out of the cultivation room. But there's a place where this 10% chance is very likely to raise it to 50%, 70%, or even 100%. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with battle intent. The Zeus Temple entered the ancient divine realm. Chapter 1305. The ancient divine realm was the primitive Earth. The stronger one was the earlier they would return to the primitive Earth. The primitive Earth was a 9-star life planet. 1 billion years ago, Earth was a 6-star elite life form. 5 billion years ago, Earth was a 6-star elite life form. The last time Lin Feng went back, 2 billion years ago, Earth was a 7-star life form. It could give birth to a 2nd-level black hole powerhouse, the immortal chaos hole. He could enter for 72 hours, but the interval between re-entry was 100 years. Now, he had completely unlocked the restriction. 144 hours with a gap of 1,000 years. Lin Feng asked in surprise. Lin Zhan nodded. My strength has improved slightly in the past 100 years. The time gear can be pushed to the fourth grid and return to Earth 5 billion years ago. What level of power is it? Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Lin Zhan said in a deep voice, 7-star perfect. Lin Feng was tempted. Life planets were divided into 6 levels: ordinary, elite, rare, top, perfect, and legendary. If it was an 8-star life planet, he would hesitate. After all, the risk was too high, and it might not be worth the risk. But a 7-star life planet was different. He had entered it the last time, and it was daunting but not dangerous. He was mentally prepared. This time, it was from an ordinary 7-star life form to a perfect 7-star life form. It was also at the immortal chaos whole level. But the spirit energy was stronger, and it was more challenging. It was within the acceptable range. This is it. Lin Feng nodded. As for the interval of 1,000 years, it didn't matter. It was normal to cultivate for thousands of years after reaching the silver core or silver heart level, and he wouldn't come back often from the 100 Saints Martial Hall. He would talk about the future later. Okay, then let's begin. Lin Zhan smiled. In an instant, a golden light shone, and the Leo gold saint garment erupted with powerful divine power. A powerful force emerged from the Zeus temple and sent Lin Feng out. Although Lin Feng's combat strength was comparable to a silver heart powerhouse. But in the face of such power, he was still unable to resist. The power of the heavens. Crane Saint Planet. Teacher, dressed in Ni Yin battle armor and wielding the Black Raven sacred sword, the newcomer was none other than Saint Song Wu. His burly build was very similar to Crane Saint, and even his temperament and personality were very similar. Crane Saint was Crane Saint's eldest disciple, and also the disciple he favored the most. He was now a middle saint. Looks like there's good news. Crane Saint laughed heartily. Come, my good disciple. Let's drink and talk. As he spoke, Saint Crane picked up the wine jug. Saint Song Wu also smiled and sat opposite his teacher. He picked up the wine cup that was filled to the brim and drank it in one gulp. Teacher, the tearing force of the ancient myriad world's secret realm is weakening. It should be soon. Saint Song Wu said, the saints of the 7 empires have all come out of seclusion. They're all waiting for the right time. A few saint kings have already tried teleporting, but I don't know if they've already entered. Saint kings were chaos immortals. Their bodies were immortal, and they could resist the tearing force of the black hole. They could enter and exit the black hole freely. However, this depended on the size of the black hole. The larger the black hole, the stronger the tearing force. Chaos immortals could enter and exit ordinary black holes, but entering and exiting the Milky Way super black hole was impossible. A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Although the Milky Way super black hole had entered its declining period, its tearing force was still dozens of times stronger than ordinary black holes. Only extremely powerful chaos immortals or black region masters could enter and exit it freely. Haha, haste makes waste. Crane Saint filled his cup again and said heartily, the ancient myriad world's secret realm lasts for at least 100 years, and at most a few thousand years. It doesn't make a difference. Saints were different from saint kings. Saints could teleport to a maximum of 1,000th of a light year, while saint kings could teleport to 100th of a light year. The difference of 10 times was huge. The ancient myriad world's secret realm was actually the center of the black hole. The suction and tearing force of the black hole was always present, but it wasn't the case for the inside. Every few hundred eras, the ancient myriad world's secret realm would have a short period of calm, like a tiger taking a nap. During this period, the tearing force of the black hole would be greatly reduced to less than a 10,000th. Even saints could resist it. During this period, one could teleport into the ancient myriad world's secret realm. Of course, even a tiger taking a nap was dangerous. Normally, those who entered the ancient myriad world's secret realm would be at least a silver heart pinnacle warrior. Otherwise, they would be courting death. Not to mention saints, even saint kings might not be able to come out unscathed. However, the suction of the black hole treasure and the hope of leaving the declining Milky Way galaxy stimulated every warrior. Since they were going to die anyway, they might as well give it a try. Perhaps there was still some hope. Song Wu Saint nodded. Recently, the price of defensive treasures and escape treasures has skyrocketed. It has at least tripled. Huh? Crane Saint laughed. Who doesn't want to stay alive? Only by staying alive can one find a way to continue living. Saints have a lifespan of 1,000 years. Those who are lucky can enter 3 times, and the later they enter, the stronger they become. The last time I entered, I was only a mid-level saint. This time, I'm already an upper-level saint. However, this will be the last time. Crane Saint's eyes were bright. This was because he only had less than 200 years left. He couldn't wait for the next ancient myriad world's secret realm. As for breaking through to become a chaos whole immortal, that was even more impossible. Teacher, you will definitely succeed this time. Song Wu Saint smiled and raised his cup. Bang! Ha! Crane Saint toasted. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. In name, they were teacher and disciple, but in reality, they were more like good friends and brothers. After countless eras, they were already very close. All right, teacher, I heard that you have a new disciple. Of course, that little guy is incredible. Oh, in what way? Earth Zeus Shrine. Lin Zhan stood in the center of the shrine with his eyes closed. He carefully sensed the passage of time and maintained the power of the shrine. Suddenly, Lin Zhan opened his eyes. They were shining brightly, and a hint of joy appeared on his face. 144 hours had passed. After all, entering the ancient divine realm was very dangerous and uncontrollable. He was also afraid that something would happen to his younger brother. But now, he could finally be at ease. Whoosh! A bright light of God power appeared. Lin Feng's figure seemed to have walked out of the gate of time and space. The armor on his body was already broken, and his hair was messy. He looked very pathetic. However, Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. What caught Lin Zhan's attention the most was the battle blade in Lin Feng's hand. It was covered with blue lightning, and it was like a jumping thunder spirit. This blue lightning battle blade gave him a soul-stirring feeling. It had terrifying power. Offing your blade, Lin Zhan said. Lin Feng smiled. He held the 7 blue battle blade in his hand, and a hint of joy appeared on his face. It's alive. Chapter 1306. In the 100 Saints Martial Palace. Look, the ranking of the Milky Way arena is out. Boss Yu Hu is ranked the highest. Needless to say, Boss Yu Hu is ranked 3rd in the King of Esports. The 2 people ahead of him are masters who have lived for hundreds of years. On the eve of the Dongwang Genius Contest, the Dongwang Empire announced the ranking of the participants. In the Milky Way arena, the King of Esports was recognized as the most authoritative ranking. Of course, Qing was a variable in this contest. Even so, the King of Esports was still valued by everyone. Yu Hu, human, 100 Saints Martial Palace, ranked 3rd in the King of Esports. Qin Yushu, human, royal family, ranked 6th in the King of Esports. Qinshan Han Kuei, demon race, demon god palace, ranked 10th in the King of Esports. Gu Jian, human, 100 Saints Martial Palace, ranked 18th in the King of Esports. Xiao Yishou, demon race, 1000 Demons Palace, ranked 18th in the King of Esports. Kuei, demon race, 100 Saints Martial Palace, ranked 27th in the King of Esports. From the King of Esports, one could see how powerful the 100 Saints Martial Palace was. The top 3 took 1 place, the top 10 took 3 places, and the top 100 took 28 places. They deserve to be the most powerful force in the Dongwang Empire. The Demon God Palace and the 1000 Demons Palace also show their strength, second only to the 100 Saints Martial Palace. They both had many masters. Generally speaking, although the Dongwang Genius Contest was full of talents, those who made it to the top 100 were usually masters from big sects and forces. As for the top 10, there were very few dark horses. It was normal. The stronger the force, the more inheritances, treasures, and cultivation resources it had. At the same time, it attracted more talented warriors. It was a virtuous cycle. The King of Esports is ranked 9,733. Lu Qin murmured as she searched. Soon, she found Lin Feng at the 128th place. No way. Lu Qin was slightly stunned. Two dimples appeared on her face. She quickly browsed through the top 100 list and sighed. There are so many talented warriors this year. According to the usual practice, the king of esports is ranked 9733. Even the weakest one can make it to the top 100. Sometimes it's possible to make it to the top 50 or the top 30. Lu Qin's pretty face was serious. She had promised to make it to the king of esports to make it to the top 100. But now it seemed it was not only difficult, but also it was quite difficult. Ugh, what's the point of thinking so much? Little junior brother might not be able to make it back in time. Lu Qin rolled her eyes and smiled. She was quite concerned about her junior brother Lin Feng's first competition after joining the sect. However, in order to prevent her from neglecting her duty as a senior sister, Lu Qin still hoped that her junior brother would not rush back. God bless us! At this time, Lin Feng had already left Earth and rushed back to the Dongwang Empire. 100 Saints number 7 was moving at full speed in the dark matter space. Lin Feng had asked Bai Zhe before, and the answer was that if there were no accidents, they would arrive at the Dongwang Empire within 2 years to participate in the Dongwang Genius Contest. Be it for public or private reasons, Lin Feng didn't want to miss this summit battle. Besides, he also wanted to test how strong he was now. During the 144 hours he spent in the primordial divine territory, he did nothing but practice his saber skills in a valley. After returning to the primitive Earth, they took a detour and entered a small valley. There was a stone house in the valley that seemed to have been there for a long time. There were no secret manuals or scriptures in the stone house, only stone carvings. Carvings of mythical beasts and ferocious beasts were made with sabers. Each stone carving was different in height. Some were 10 meters tall, and some were 100 meters tall. The outlines of each saber were clear. There were Kirin's, four-eyed bird, Bai's, phoenix, Koei, and other mythical beasts and ferocious beasts that he recognized. There were also many that he didn't recognize. Lin Feng looked at a unicorn that raised its hooves and neighed loudly. Soon, he was immersed in it. A vague figure seemed to appear in his mind. The figure used the saber in his hand to draw clear saber chi, perfectly imprinting the saber moves into the stone carving. Unknowingly, Lin Feng seemed to be possessed by the devil. The saber in his hand danced, imitating the saber moves of the vague figure over and over again, comprehending the saber moves and saber intent of the carving. The heart moved with the saber. Immersed in the saber moves, Lin Feng didn't even know that his saber heart had broken through from the limit of the 9th level to the 10th level. Moreover, there was a strange power in his saber moves. It was a power that seemed to be controlled by the heavens. It was just a trace, but it seemed to open a door to the heavens. Every move and every swing of the saber felt different. It was a power that was above the saber moves, saber intent, and even saber heart. It was a kind of heavenly Tao. If I'm not wrong, this is the heavenly Tao of saber that senior sister mentioned. Lin Feng swung his saber, and a casual swing of the saber carried a strong power that contained a trace of the heaven's power. This saber move is stronger than my previous full-strength saber move. Lin Feng was shocked. According to senior sister, comprehending a trace of the heavenly Tao of saber is equivalent to crossing one level. My saber heart is now at the beginning of the 10th level. Supplemented by a trace of the heavenly Tao of saber, it's equivalent to the beginning of the 11th level. Lin Feng was very excited. An 11th level saber heart was considered good even among saints. In a battle between silver cores, it could be said that he would be able to sweep them all. Moreover, with a trace of the heavenly Tao of saber, the 7 blue saber was also awakened. It can release the origin of thunder on its own, and the saber spirit and I have a preliminary connection. Lin Feng smiled with satisfaction. The heart was the key to the improvement of the saber heart, but the saber was also very important. I'll continue to practice the saber in the next 2 years. I'll strengthen the connection with the 7 blue saber. I believe that before I reach the Dongwang Empire, my saber heart can be improved by another level. Lin Feng held the 7 blue saber tightly and was very confident. With my current strength, there is no problem for me to enter the top 10. But to compete for the top 3, he was not sure. Because Lin Feng did not have the clearest and most intuitive understanding of his opponent's strength. But if Qin Xing really has the strength of a low-level saint, I should be no match for her. Lin Feng still had a ruler in his heart. His strength had improved greatly, and even among the silver core level, he was first class. But compared to a low-level saint, there was a big gap. It doesn't matter if I can't catch up now. When my strength improves to the silver core level, as long as I can really understand the essence of the stone sculpture, I believe I can enter the threshold of the heavenly Tao of Saber. Lin Feng's eyes were bright. The 7 blue saber in his hand shot out power, and there were bursts of lightning. Although it has been activated, it is only a part of it. I'm afraid that the remaining power will only be fully displayed when the heavenly Tao of Saber improves further. Lin Feng was very clear about the conditions to activate the 7 blue saber. That was the heavenly Tao of Saber. It was very hazy before, but now there was a bright path for the heavenly Tao of Saber. A light flashed in the cultivation room, and a huge stone sculpture appeared in front of Lin Feng. It was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, and it was very lifelike. Every carving contained an amazing realm of saber will, which was very profound. A stone sculpture of a ferocious beast. Lin Feng was not so stupid. He had already moved them back before he left. Chapter 1307. The grand event of the Dongwang Empire began. Every era's Dongwang genius battle was the focus of attention. At least half of the top 10 warriors could become saints. The top 3 were almost guaranteed to become saints. Some even became upper-level saints or saint kings. Only warriors with potential and aptitude could become silver core rankers in an era. Only warriors with strong combat power could stand out in the Dongwang genius battle. If both were strong, it was natural for them to become saints. The rewards for this year's Dongwang genius battle remain the same for the 4th to 10th place. However, the higher-ranked warriors will have priority to choose from the 15 ordinary chaos whole treasures. A loud voice resounded. The host of the Dongwang genius battle was the famous Saint Yuluan of the Dongwang Empire. The 2nd and 3rd place will get 5 powerful chaos whole treasures. The 1st place, Saint Yuluan glanced over with envy in his eyes. You'll get a top-level chaos whole treasure. Everyone was shocked. A top-level chaos whole treasure. There were 4 levels of chaos whole treasures. Top-level ones were quite rare and could only be found in the deepest secret realms of the ancient myriad worlds. Even upper-level saints rarely had top-level chaos whole treasures. But it's Qin Xing said Temple Master Huang. Our 100 Saints Martial Hall is too powerful, said Yuan Pei with a smile as he played with the dagger in his hand. Not every emperor wanted his subordinates to be too powerful. Don't talk about conspiracy theories. Temple Master Wu pursed her lips. The participants are generally strong. It's normal for His Majesty to give out more rewards. For example, the 2nd and 3rd place only got 3 powerful chaos whole treasures. Now there are 5. It's the same for the 4th to 10th place. It won't fall into our hands anyway. Yuan Pei looked indifferent. You who might have a chance to win, said Temple Master Huang. It's difficult. Yuan Pei spun the dagger in his hand quickly. It's better to target the 2nd or 3rd place. Prince Yushu is as strong as him. Besides, he's from the royal family. At least he has a powerful chaos whole treasure. Is there anyone from the Crane Saints branch participating this year? Asked Temple Master Wu. There is one, said Temple Master Huang. Teacher's 5th disciple, Lin Feng. Yuan Pei smiled and said, This is a super genius that our Hall Master Yun personally recruited. His potential is limitless. It's the little monster that attracted the inheritance of Saint 11, right? I've heard a little about it. Hall Master Wu flipped through the information and frowned slightly. Ranked 9,733 in the King of Esports and 128th in the Dongwang Genius Contest. Yuan Pei said valiantly, That's normal. Lin Feng has been in the sect for 100 years. How can his potential be displayed so quickly? Hall Master Huang nodded. The average strength of this batch is relatively high. If Lin Feng can enter the top 100, it will be considered a perfect completion of the mission. Everyone was discussing amongst themselves. The Dongwang Genius Battle was a grand event of the Empire. It was streamed live on the Milky Way Dark Network and had many viewers. With the technology of the Dongwang Empire, the viewers were completely immersed in the battle. It was very exciting. If I can't get into the top 100 and participate in the preliminaries, I won't be a seeded player. There are too many variables, Yuan Pei said. Hall Master Wu nodded and said, Our 100 Saints Martial Palace only has 4 martial artists ranked outside the top 100, right? Yes. Hall Master Huang said. Yifeng, who is ranked 107th, Zhehan Tiger King, who is ranked 119th, Lin Feng, who is ranked 128th, and Yang Li, who is ranked 145th. Among them, only Lin Feng is recommended to be exempted from the test. Therefore, there are always people in the martial arts hall's internal network who are complaining about the unfairness. Yuan Pei smiled and said, Especially that Yu Yong. He is the most aggressive. We don't have to bother about such people, Hall Master Wu said. We can't ignore all of them. Hall Master Huang said, If Lin Feng fails to get into the top 100, it will be the same as verifying what Yu Yong said. It will definitely cause a commotion and affect our Crane Saints lineage. Top 100, it shouldn't be difficult, right? Yuan Pei and Hall Master Wu didn't sound very confident. Groups. The Dongwang Genius Battle had a quota limit. All the clans and factions had different quotas. There were also qualifiers in the Dongwang Empire where ordinary martial artists could participate. However, since it was the Genius Battle, the requirements were naturally strict. The 100 Saints Martial Hall, which had the most quotas, only got 32. There were a total of 100,000 quotas in the entire Dongwang Empire. The preliminaries would be divided into 100 groups, with 999 martial artists in each group. They would be assessed in the Milky Way Dark Network. The time limit was 1 month. Each group would enter a virtual starry sky world to hunt astral beasts. Although the astral beasts were divided into levels 1 to 12, there were no level 1 to level 6 astral beasts in the virtual starry sky world. Silver Core experts should be able to kill level 7 astral beasts. The minimum requirement for the participants of the Dongwang Genius Battle was to be able to kill level 9 astral beasts. The stronger ones could kill level 10 or even level 11 astral beasts. However, it wasn't that simple. In the virtual starry sky world, there were 3 chaos hole beasts in addition to astral beasts. In addition to killing astral beasts to earn points, the martial artists who participated in the preliminaries also had to know how to seek luck and avoid danger. This was because once they encountered a chaos hole beast, it was basically a dead end. The chaos hole beast was a powerful existence comparable to a lower-level saint. 1 month later, the top 9 martial artists in each group will enter the main competition. Yu Luan Saint explained the rules without stopping. At this time, the contestants who had verified their identities took their tokens and entered the space provided by the Dongwang Empire according to their groups. In order to prevent identity confusion and impersonation, although the preliminaries were held in the Xinlong Dark Network, every contestant had to verify their identities and compete in the designated area. This was the only way to be fair. At this time, in the dark matter space, 100 Saints number 7 was still flying. Lin Feng frowned slightly as he looked at the light year number on the map. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't anxious. Interstellar flight would not always be smooth sailing, especially when the closer they were to the Milky Way super black hole, the more unstable the dark matter space was and the stronger the magnetic field. 100 Saints number 7 had been flying at full speed and was expected to arrive about a month earlier. However, they were unlucky and encountered a huge dark matter storm. Although the distance was shortened, the dark matter storm damaged some parts of 100 Saints number 7. Fortunately, Izay was not only good at piloting spaceships, he was also good at repairing them. However, it still took a lot of time. When they set off again, they had already wasted 2 months. The preliminaries will last for a month. With my current flying speed, Unless I am extremely unlucky, I will definitely arrive before the preliminaries end. Lin Feng held the 7 blue battle saber in his hand, his eyes full of confidence. With his current strength, it didn't matter even if he had to hunt a little less than the other contestants. After all, the preliminaries were just a small test. Chapter 1308. Geniuses Remember Love in 1 Second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. The intranet of the 100 Saints Martial Palace was flooded with people. With the start of the Dongwang Genius Battle, everyone was excited. After all, the boring cultivation life needed some entertainment. Although it was just a preliminary round, there were still some highlights. Among the 32 participants of the 100 Saints Martial Palace, who are going to participate in the preliminary round, Isu is in the first group. Found him. Haha, he's ranked first in the first group. Awesome. Zhuhan Tiger King is not bad either. He's ranked 8th in the 23rd group. What's wrong with Yangli? He's ranked over 100 in the 80th group. Don't worry, it's only the first day. He's unlucky that he didn't encounter any ferocious beasts above the 10th level. To rank in the top 9 of each group, one had to kill a ferocious beast above the 10th level. This was already common knowledge. After all, a 9th level ferocious beast was worth 100 points, while a 10th level ferocious beast was worth 10,000 points. Killing 109th level ferocious beasts was equivalent to killing a 10th level ferocious beast. This was a chasm, a great leap in cultivation level. A 10th level ferocious beast was equivalent to a human warrior's silver core level, while a 9th level ferocious beast was only at the silver core level. Those who could kill a 10th level ferocious beast were all the best among the silver core level masters. But this was not enough to determine the winner. Although it was only a preliminary round, each of the 100,000 geniuses participating in the Dongwang Genius Battle was a superstar of the Dongwang Empire. If they were in the Black Wolf Gold Empire, they would be powerful enough to defeat anyone. It was difficult to advance by killing a 10th level ferocious beast. One had to kill an 11th level or 12th level ferocious beast. An 11th level ferocious beast was worth 100,000 points. A 12th level ferocious beast was worth 1,000,000 points. As for the chaotic beast, could anyone kill it? Hey, isn't Lin Feng in the 44th group? Why can't I see him? On the Jinlong Black Network, entering each group was like looking down from the sky. All the warriors in each group could be seen clearly. Yeah. According to the data, Lin Feng is in the 44th group. He's ranked 999. Damn, he's last. What is Lin Feng doing? It's so embarrassing. A single stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. Lin Feng's ranking at the bottom immediately caused a commotion. The martial artists of the 100 Saints Martial Palace were all geniuses among geniuses, and they all thought highly of themselves. They didn't even put the preliminaries in their eyes. Out of the 32 contestants, only 4 would participate in the preliminaries. Yifeng ranked 107th, Zhuhan Tiger King ranked 119th, Lin Feng ranked 128th, and Yang Li ranked 145th. One had to know that the top 100 martial artists could enter the competition directly without having to take the test. The 4 of them were equivalent to being ranked 7th, 19th, 28th, and 45th among the 99,900 martial artists. It would be a piece of cake for him to obtain 900 seats in the main competition. But now, Lin Feng was completely holding them back. Crane Saint Planet. Offing hasn't arrived yet. Crane Saint asked. Yes, teacher. Junior brother is still in the dark matter space. Lu Qin helplessly revealed a pair of dimples and said, It seems that junior brother won't be able to make it in time for this competition. While speaking, Lu Qin was a little relieved. If junior brother knew that her judgment was wrong and she was eliminated in the competition, she would be even more embarrassed. Although she had lost without a fight, she still had some excuses. Okay. Crane Saint nodded and didn't care. His original intention was to let his little disciple practice, and he didn't care whether he could get a ranking or not. In his opinion, Lin Feng's participation in the Dongwang Genius Battle was dispensable, because Lin Feng's goal was to become a saint. Teacher, there are a lot of criticisms on the intranet about Junior Brother. Should we stop them? Lu Qin asked. Let them say what they want. I can stop one mouth, but I can't stop 100 mouths. Crane Saints said, when Offing becomes a saint in the future, they won't have anything to say. Everything depended on strength. Lucine nodded with a smile. She agreed with her teacher on this point. Junior brother Lin Feng would definitely become a saint in the future. Soon, half of a month had passed. The preliminaries went on vigorously, and warriors were eliminated from time to time. After all, no one could guarantee that they wouldn't die when fighting against ferocious beasts of the starry sky. Sometimes, they would encounter groups of ferocious beasts of the starry sky. Of course, a large number of them were killed by chaotic beasts of the starry sky. After half a month, it was obvious that more than half of the ferocious beasts of the starry sky had been killed in the virtual starry sky world of each group. In this kind of preliminaries, the real masters were rarely eliminated. It's about time. Ilin, Juhun Tiger King, and Yang Li will definitely advance. Nonsense. It's a piece of cake. The 3 martial artists from 100 Saints Martial Palace who were participating in the preliminaries were all in the top 3 of each group. Their combat strength was formidable. Even Yang Li, who had been lagging behind, was only unlucky. He quickly caught up and was now ranked 2nd in his group. He was far ahead in terms of points. Where did Lin Feng go? That's right. He hasn't shown up for half a month. Such a good spot has been wasted. If I knew it would be wasted, he would have given it to me. Not to mention getting first place in the group, I can just play around. With 0 points, it's too embarrassing to be ranked last in the group. When has our 100 Saints Martial Temple ever been ranked so low? Lin Feng's absence made all the warriors of the 100 Saints Martial Temple gloomy. After all, Lin Feng represented the 100 Saints Martial Temple. The warriors naturally hoped that all the participants of the martial arts hall could win and advance. This would show the strength of the 100 Saints Martial Temple and make them worthy of being the strongest force in the Dongwang Empire. That's why I said it's not fair. Yu Yong was indignant. If I were to participate, I wouldn't even need to participate in the preliminaries. I would be in the top 100. Even if I participated, it wouldn't be difficult for me to get first place in the group. How strong is Lin Feng? Even if he is lucky enough to advance, he won't be able to win the later rounds. He won't be able to enter the top 100. The 100 Saints Martial Temple uses only relatives. This method is too disappointing. The more Yu Yong spoke, the more unconvinced he became. He was obviously stronger than Lin Feng, but he couldn't advance. Suddenly, sour grapes when you can't eat them. So sour, Lu Qin mocked. I'm telling the truth. I'm ranked 1298 in the King of Esports. Lin Feng is only 9733. I'm much stronger than him. Yu Yong said proudly. How strong? Didn't you get eliminated in the preliminaries? Lu Qin mocked. That's because I was unlucky. I lost because I met Yu Hu. If Lin Feng were to participate, I would definitely beat him. Yu Yong said. Who doesn't know how to say that? Lu Qin said. You said you would definitely get first place in the preliminaries. So what if you're in the 100th group? In the 100th group, there was a super strong person whose points were dozens of times higher than the second place. It was Qin Xing. I can't beat Qin Xing, but I can still advance in the 100th group. Yu Yong said proudly. I like it when you're unconvinced but can't do anything about it. Ha! Lu Qin laughed. Yu Yong trembled with anger. If I were to fight Lin Feng one-on-one, I would definitely beat the crap out of him. Tell him to come out if you dare. The entire intranet was in an uproar. Quick, go and see. Qin Xing has gone crazy. She actually went to kill the Chaos Beast. Oh my god, she's crazy. F***CK. Is she even human? Chapter 1309. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second. Here's a wonderful novel for you to read. The 100th group's virtual starry sky world was suddenly crowded. Everyone wanted to see how Qin Xing, who is rumored to be as powerful as a lower saint, would challenge the chaotic beast. Since the Dongwang Empire held the Dongwang Genius Battle 1,000 years ago, no warrior had been able to kill the chaotic beast. This in itself was too inconceivable. A silver core level master had to cross 2 levels, and one of them was a huge level from the nebula level to the black hole level. Was it possible? Qin Shing Er's action not only attracted the attention of the Hundred Saints Martial Temple, but also the entire Dongwang Empire. Even some saints went to watch, wanting to see how powerful this rare genius of the Fairy Luo Palace was. Newborn calves aren't afraid of tigers, said a middle-aged man in a golden robe. The monarch of the Dongwang Empire, Qin Wushou, was also a saint. Qin Shing is very powerful. There was a figure behind Qin Wushou. He was Qin Wushou's bodyguard, the Shadow Saint King. But she's only close to a lower saint. Qin Wushou nodded and said, "There are strong and weak lower saints. Qin Shing Er's strength is probably equivalent to a weak lower saint." The Shadow Saint King said, "Every chaotic beast in the virtual starry sky world has standard combat power, which is equivalent to an ordinary lower saint. Qin Shing can hurt them, but she can't kill them. Even so, she's already very powerful." Qin Wushou couldn't stop praising her. "Yes, as long as your majesty takes care of her, Qin Shing will become your majesty's most powerful right-hand man in time," said the Shadow Saint King. A silver core level master was comparable to a lower saint. How powerful would she be when she reached the silver core level, or the level of dark matter? It was hard to estimate. Emperor Qin Wushou's eyes lit up. Qin Shing was defeated. However, her failure caused a huge commotion because she had severely injured a Chaos Hole vicious beast. In a one-on-one battle, she had almost killed the Chaos Beast. This kind of strength was amazing. And she didn't die herself. She could challenge a chaotic beast, injure it, and escape in the end. Qin Shing was probably the only one in 1,000 years. Too monstrous. There's no suspense. Yes, Yu Hu and Prince Yu Shu couldn't defeat her even if they joined hands. The heavens are really too good to her. She's so beautiful. Her figure is so good. Her aptitude is so terrifying. And her combat strength is even more shocking. Who can control such a woman? It's not you. Stop dreaming. Qin Shing Er's strength had convinced all the geniuses. Even though the members of the Hundred Saints Martial Palace were all elites of the Dongwang Empire, they still admired Qin Shing from the bottom of their hearts. Her strength no longer aroused any jealousy, because his strength was too terrifying. In the preliminaries, Qin Shing Er's challenge had become a hot topic. Lin Feng was gradually forgotten. Although Yu Yong was unwilling, as Lu Qin had said, he could not change anything. What else could he do other than complain? It wouldn't be long before he would be forgotten. After all, Yu Yong was just a nobody. On the 25th day of the preliminaries, there were only 5 days left until the end of the preliminaries. Basically, the top 9 of each group had already been decided. Generally, only the 8th and 9th places would be contested. However, there were not many variables. After all, most of the ferocious beasts of the starry sky had been killed. The remaining ones were either 6th level or 7th level ferocious beasts of the starry sky that were too lazy to kill, or 12th level ferocious beasts of the starry sky. Basically, all the ferocious beasts that could be killed had been killed. Let's go. It's boring. Let's wait for the actual competition. If you want to leave, you can leave. I want to see the goddess for a while more. Qin Shing is so beautiful. She is as graceful as a fairy. Even the way she wields her sword is so intoxicating. Oh no, I am completely mesmerized by her. She is not a fairy. She must be a demon. Screw you. The preliminaries, which were about to end, returned to peace. The other forces might have some expectations, but the warriors of the Hundred Saints Martial Palace were bored. However, although they were bored, many warriors who were fascinated by Qin Shing were eating heartily and admiring their goddess at a close distance. They did not feel that time was passing slowly at all. At this time, at the border of the Dongwang Empire, swish, with a flash of light, a huge and ferocious spaceship appeared in an instant. The door of the spaceship opened, and 4 figures appeared instantly. They were Lin Feng and the other 3 who had finally arrived. "Pa!" Lin Feng put away Hundred Saints number 7. His eyes were bright. "How much time do we have left?" Lin Feng asked. 5 days, Li Mu Bai replied. If we rush there using short-distance space transmission, we will have about 3 days to reach the capital of the Empire. Do you want to go, young master? Lead the way, Lin Feng said firmly. Yes. Crane Saint Planet. Master, junior brother is back. Lu Qin shouted loudly and ran in like a gust of wind. I knew it long ago. Crane Saint rolled his eyes. Can you not be so surprised? You are the 4th senior sister after all. Lu Qin smiled, revealing 2 small dimples. I'm happy. Although she did not know why Lin Feng suddenly went back. It must be something urgent. Lu Qin was quite happy to see her junior brother return safely. Crane Saint nodded. Offing already told me when he arrived. Lu Qin frowned and pouted. This guy, he didn't even tell me first. I will teach him a lesson when he comes back. By the way, Master, where is junior brother now? Has he returned to Crane Saint Planet number 5? Crane Saint shook his head. No, he rushed to participate in the preliminaries. What? Lu Qin's eyes widened. There is no time. What is junior brother rushing to do? Crane Saint said, let's finish what we started. Anyway, we don't care about results. It doesn't matter if he goes or not. Lu Qin said, no matter how powerful junior brother is, it is useless. 90% of the space beasts have been killed. There is no time and no points. What is junior brother going to do? Really? No, I have to stop him. He likes to do stupid things all the time. With that, Lu Qin flew away like a wisp of smoke. Crane Saint looked at the empty palace and shook his head with a helpless smile. Donghuang Empire, the capital of the empire. Thud! Lin Feng came out of the space transmission array, followed by Li Mubai and the other 2. Looking at the bustling capital of the empire, Lin Feng glanced around, and there was a little excitement in his chest. He was here. There were 3 days left in the preliminaries, which was much less than expected. But Lin Feng was not ready to give up. It had nothing to do with winning or losing. Since he had promised Master to participate, he would come even if there was only 1 day left. Moreover, there was always a glimmer of hope. Lin Feng did not like to give up. There is still a chance. Let's fight. Lin Feng's Fighting Spirit Sword. Chapter 1310. Genius remembers love in 1 second /small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Participate in the preliminaries? The warriors in charge of identity verification were stunned. They had never met a warrior who came to participate in the preliminaries before. They checked Lin Feng's identity information and could not make up their minds. Saint Yu Luan. While the warriors were discussing, Saint Yu Luan, the host of the Donghuang Genius Battle, came over. What's the matter? Saint Yu Luan's voice was loud and clear. It's like this, Saint. Soon, the warrior in charge of identity verification explained the matter. Saint Yu Luan looked at Lin Feng coldly and nodded. You're late, Saint Yu Luan said in a deep voice. I know. Lin Feng's voice was calm. Saint Yu Luan said, as the person in charge of the preliminaries, I have the right to disqualify you. Lin Feng smiled. Saint, you're generous. If it were other warriors, Saint Yu Luan might not give him face, but he was from the 100 Saints Martial Palace and was the disciple of Crane Saint, so Saint Yu Luan would give him some face. Saint Yu Luan said, I have the obligation to remind you that more than 90% of the ferocious beasts in the virtual starry sky world have been killed, and there are only 3 days left. Even if you kill more than half of them, it will be difficult for you to advance. Lin Feng was surprised and nodded. Thank you for reminding me. Then he nodded slightly. Lin Feng took the preliminaries token and walked inside. Behind him, Saint Yu Luan's eyes sparkled. The new disciple of Crane Saint, you don't know when to stop. Whoosh, through the virtual reality space, Lin Feng quickly entered the virtual starry sky world. What he saw was a huge starry sky. Boundless cosmic energy filled the air. There were stars, planets, and star debris everywhere. It was hard to tell if it was real or not. 100% simulation. It was an extremely realistic starry sky world, but at this time, it was empty and bleak. Most of the ferocious beasts had been killed. Contestant Lin Feng, welcome to Starry Sky World 44. There are still 7 days until the end of the preliminaries. Your current ranking is 55th. You can check your real-time ranking in the information bar. A clear voice sounded in his ears. Lin Feng quickly learned some information about the preliminaries. You have killed a 10th Order Star Beast. You have gained 10,000 points. You have killed an 11th Order Star Beast. You have gained 100,000 points. You have killed a level 12 Star Beast. 1 million points gained. If you still have any questions, you can ask directly. I wish you success in your advancement. Then, the image disappeared. Lin Feng chanted in his mind, and a glowing information bar appeared on his left. There was a real-time ranking, including the rankings and points. It was very fair. There was also a radar map that showed his current location and the entire Starry Sky world. However, it was limited to his own position. It did not include the space beasts or the other contestants. According to St. Yuluan, 90% of the space beasts have been killed. The remaining 10% are mostly 7th Order and 12th Order Star Beasts. Lin Feng quickly analyzed. Among them, 7th Order Star Beasts had the lowest points, only one. Basically, many powerhouses did not even bother to kill them. As for 12th Order Star Beasts, not everyone could kill them. First place is Sho Inma of the Myriad Demons Temple, with 100,000 points. Second place is Golden Winged Rock King of the Demon God Temple, with 88 million points. Third place is Brown Pupil of Amber Mountain, with 180,000 points. Lin Feng was not in a hurry to go hunting. He had to carefully analyze the current situation and see if there were any loopholes or methods to find. Now, in addition to relying on luck, he had to take some shortcuts, paths that no one else had taken. The strongest are Sho Inma and Golden Winged Rock King, with more than 10 million points. They should be able to easily kill a 12th Order Star Beast. Starting from Brown Pupil, who is third, his points began to drop sharply. Lin Feng's gaze fell on the 9th place. Wind Demon Cult, Lai Kuangfeng, with 1.07 million points. Further down, the 10th place, the 11th place, and the 16th place had less than 10 million points. Sho Inma and Golden Winged Rock King are in the first level. Brown Pupil, who is first place, and Li Kuei, who is 15th place, are in the second level. Lin Feng thought to himself, the powerhouses in the second level should be able to barely kill 12th Order Star Beasts. Among them, the 12th Order Star Beasts accounted for 50 to 70% of their points. From the 16th place to the 69th place, there's another gap. Among them, the 12th Order Star Beasts accounted for 20 to 30% of their points. They were lucky enough to kill 2 or 3 Star Beasts. After the 70th place, they only killed 11th Order Star Beasts. Lin Feng quickly finished his analysis. Obviously, even the powerhouses in the second level could only barely kill 12th Order Star Beasts. After all, this was the preliminaries, not the main competition. No matter how strong the powerhouses in the preliminaries were, most of them were only at the standard Silver Heart level. There were very few like Sho Inma and Golden Winged Rock King. It shouldn't be a problem for me to enter the top 70. Lin Feng knew that he only needed to kill 3 12th Order Star Beasts to be in the 70th place, because the 70th place only had 770,000 points. But it would be difficult to enter the third level or even the second level. The key now is how many 12th Order Star Beasts are left. Lin Feng recalled Yu Luan's saint's words. His intuition told him that there weren't many left. A conservative estimate was a dozen, but not more than 20 or 30. Because Yu Luan's saints, even if he could kill more than half of them, it would be difficult for him to advance. He naturally wasn't referring to 7th Order Star Beasts, but 12th Order Star Beasts. But that wasn't the problem. This virtual Starry Sky world is too big. It will take me a month to explore it completely. I only have 3 days left. Lin Feng muttered. He was confident that he could kill 12th Order Star Beasts, but the problem was, how many could he find? The 9th place was the Wind Demon Cult's Pai Kuangfeng with 1.07 million points. This meant that he had to kill 12 12th Order Star Beasts. According to Yu Luan's Saint's analysis, there should be 15 to 20 12th Order Star Beasts left in the entire Starry Sky world. Assuming that there were 20 of them, they would be evenly distributed throughout the Starry Sky world. 3 days' time was 1/10 of a month's time. 20? How many could he find? 2, 3, 4? This didn't include the other contestants. If Shoinma and Golden-Winged Rock King encountered a 12th Order Star Beast, they would also be killed. There were also the powerhouses in the second level, who were ranked 10th to 15th. They were also searching for 12th Order Star Beasts. They would definitely risk their lives, because they also wanted to advance. Enter the top 9. Lin Feng quickly muttered to himself. His gaze unconsciously fell on himself, who was ranked 55th. Suddenly, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. To be continued.